Hello and welcome to the show. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Unveiling Reality. Brand new show here on the channel, and thank you for being here. How's everybody doing? How's it going, TR? You're the first, huh? All right. Red Gummy Rock, welcome. How you doing? Suzanne, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you for being here. Happy to see everybody. Um, Please spread the word. This is a new show, new night, and we want to make sure everybody gets in here that wants to learn more about this weird universe that we live in, right? And all the cool stuff that's going on. Well, this journey started a long time ago. Um, well, it seems like a long time ago, about a year ago, almost a year ago. And it started out with just a series of Sunday evening shows where I would go in and talk about where I come from, where I got all this knowledge from, and all the things I'd been through, and then start hitting some of the main topics that would lead us on this journey that we're going to go on to understand better the reality that we're living in. And so to understand it better is to understand how to craft it better ourselves, right? How to stand against the corruption that is inside of it and create a better world for ourselves and for the future. And that was really the purpose of this entire channel, was to get started in that direction, right? To be working towards solution culture, where we have a different mindset that we've had for most of our lives, in that we're not kind of like participating in the system as it's designed, but looking at the system from the outside and seeing how we can pull the system back towards the light, back towards the good side of reality, where we don't have so many different kinds of issues dealing with our future constantly, and taking a deep look at it. Now, some people take different approaches to this, and hopefully everything's coming through. I get this little thing that says connection is unstable if you're on Wi-Fi. I'm not on Wi-Fi, so I hope everything's good. But anyways, I might have to like just make sure I'm on the right. Where am I at? Okay, that should be good. All right, little technical thing there. But anyways, to help us better understand the world we're living in, because we live in a time where information, and for the most part, it's always been like this. It's just we live in this very information intensive time, right? Where information is used to kind of keep people in these narrow little boxes, right? And by keeping them in these narrow little boxes, you can effectively stall any kind of progress towards understanding the grander scheme of things better, right? Like keeping people trapped in these little boxes of issues and dealing with problems. And see, it's a very complex system in a sense that we don't always see what's affecting us. And there's very tricky ways of getting around that with the human OS, the way the human brain works. And that's where we started this whole series at, is talking about how the human brain works and understanding ourselves better so that we can understand the world outside of us better. And from that, we went into various forms of an early forms of mind control, in a sense of how the powers that be, the corrupt side of this world, uses that the OS, the loopholes in the OS of the human mind, and information in order to create these illusions that we live under. And we can all relate to this, right? In the sense that all we have to do is look back into what we call like the first veil, or the veil that you're born into in this world, the current one, and see the people that are still kind of in that veil, where we sit at outside of it, understanding the corruption that is there within the information, right? So to put that kind of like in a different way, we've kind of outgrown the initial perception of reality, and we're kind of like into this new realm of reality where we see that the information that we grew up with is being corrupted for different reasons by different types of people, and we no longer trust that. So we kind of step outside of it and look for bigger answers and bigger truths to that. And when we do that, we can look back and we can see the subversion that goes on and has been going on in our entire lives. And we can also see how it affects the youngest amongst us, right? So that's part of what it is. But what I want to do is kind of step back into that time and tell you guys about that to kind of catch you up, because we had a great Sunday crew here for a good amount of time, and we were making some real progress. So we had a little side quest, kind of got on a side quest that merged into what we were doing. It was a good side quest in the sense that a lot of information was learned, right? And in that information, it opened up an entire new world to understand, and really put this work on a different level. So no regrets there, and it was definitely a necessary part of this journey of information that we're going through, to do that. I understand that not a lot of people will understand that, but when you're deep into the research and you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it, you tend to look at things like that as blessings and not curses, and that everything that you learn, whether it was a great experience or an okay experience or even a experience full of peril, that the results are always for the best, and that's just keeping your inner faith, right? And knowing that no matter what is happening, right or wrong, good or bad, at the moment it's happening for the right reason and will lead to something better than you're currently engaged with or dealing with, right? It's that inner faith that life goes on, and that there's no reason for us to ever wallow in a certain event or pity or anything like that about ourselves, that we can always overcome it. Now there's a big jump there between, what is decent, what is indecent, and the laws of this world and how they work. But for the most part, even people that have committed some of the worst crimes have an opportunity to have a realization and become a better person as best they can from it, should they choose to, and should they have the right information to. I know that sounds wild, but the idea is to get people from the darkness to the light, and to stay in the light in this world throughout your experience, as the darkness tries to pull you in. And we'll see that it's going to be very well illustrated in this series. I hope that I do the best job I can do and to deliver this information. But I realize that this is a challenge to myself and to what's going on as a whole, because if you thought that people that were under the first veil of influence, right, the mainstream establishment narrative, right, if you think that they're hard to break free of their belief systems, well, you got to imagine that the people in the second veil, the ones that have stepped outside of that, are even harder to convince that there could be more, right? They're very assured of themselves at this point that everything is the way they see it. And I unfortunately will challenge those biases, and um, I will bring light to these type of things to challenge even those people's perspectives and beliefs, because there is a wider, bigger world out there than what even the biggest conspiracy theorist, biggest I know it all. I've read everything, person out there can imagine, right? It's the veils are there. They're very effective at what they do, and we have to remember our own condition and our own uh, OS as we go through these things, because no one's immune. Even some of the things that I've come across in the past couple months, I'd never seen before in my life. So there's always more growth going on. And that's some of the most exciting things about this journey is the continued growth in education. It's just it never stops, and there's so much to know about this world. But when you start to really get the full picture of what's going on, you step back. That's when you're starting to realize, wow, this system that we're living in is more than I ever thought it was. It was more than I ever realized. And though some of these things were staring me right in the face the entire time, and you'll see that until you connect the dots, they don't really make that much sense. They can be almost just like backdrop, or just included in certain veils where you're like, well, okay, that's just kind of part of this thing, right? And it's not a big deal, it's just this thing. But then when you step back, you realize, wow, this thing that's going on is bigger than I ever realized, and more important than I ever realized. That's why we always got to keep learning. We always got to keep challenging our beliefs and ourselves. And even me, hey, look, I'll sit up here and sound like um I know a lot of stuff, right? But the truth of the matter is that I took a lot of time to work this stuff out along the way, and I'm still adding to it. So with that, I like to start by kind of looking at the earlier shows really quick, just kind of a recap to get everybody up to speed, and hopefully to find those those lost viewers that were part of the early shows, because we had a lot of fun in the early shows. They're clunky, they're full of mishaps, but we got a lot of good information out there. There is a series out that I just re-released. They're in the member section, and I kept it there because it was kind of like that streamer pride thing, I guess, like where you want to put your best work out there. The early stuff is clunky. It's got audio issues. It's got all that fun stuff of me making mistakes constantly. So there's comedy, uh, but the information is great. So I put it back out there and I put it into a new playlist, and that playlist is called Valley of the Shadows, and that's what I used to call it back then because it was basically shadow banned from early on, and that's what I called it, kind of broadcasting from the Valley of the Shadows. That's the way it felt. We had a great crew, and we went through things like the Yuri Bezmenov series. We watched all the Yuri stuff early on to understand kind of that first veil of influence that we were looking at. We also opened up by talking about by the way, that playlist is out there now. I was trying to look for the link to it real quick while I'm talking. Let's see, there it is. I'm gonna put the link out in the chat in case anybody wants to go back and watch these for fun. Skim through them. The Yuri ones definitely have all the information about ideological subversion and the stages of that, which we'll cover again, but we won't be going into the Yuri granularity of it. We'll be touching on the high points about it just to kind of refresh ourselves. And as you can see, it's here's the link. Let me put this in there. See, I have to go here, here, and here. Okay, there we go. This is the playlist for that, and that will take you back to the early shows, right? So I'm going to pull up the retrospective board. Now, this board right here is going to be key to the show, and we're going to have a lot of interactions with this, and we're going to help grow it too. So this is an interactive show, and I want everybody to get involved and feel like you can actually add to this board as we go. This is how I have come to see things, and I've kind of been illustrating the path as well that we've been down. So we'll be doing some rearranging on it. It's kind of like a work in progress. So look forward to Wednesday nights working on this board together as we go through the different aspects of it. And we'll give you the big view, and I'll give you the kind of like drilled down view. But in the early shows, we started out by talking about how the human mind works, right? So on the retrospective board here, I've kind of drawn out some of these early ideas and things that we've covered along the way. So I always start my conversations with people about this kind of topic by talking about how the mind works, right? And we went through this exercise that went to sorry, I just got kind of interrupted there. I gotta get my thoughts back. All right. That went through how the mind works, right? So I asked the question, if a person is born deaf, right, and they never heard a word and were never taught any language, do they have an inner voice? So this is let me get rid of this banner here. Show started, man. All right. Yeah, so it's the kind of fun stuff you can see in the old ones too, where I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. As we roll along here, banners. There we go. All right, there it is. So, and by the way, we'll still do the old outros, right? So I still have like a fun little live music at the end, right? So I don't want to get rid of that part of it, but I will have intros for the shows from now on. Instead of like just kind of playing a song until people show up, I'll do the intro and we'll pop right into it and we'll get going. Anyways, how the human mind works, right? So I asked a question: if you're born deaf and you don't ever learn a language, do you have an inner voice? And I'll let people answer that and have a variety of answers. And Mike would say, of course, right? Okay, so what would you say that inner voice would be if you've never heard a word and you don't understand what the human language is or any languages within society? What would you say that inner voice would be? Makes me wonder if Mike was here Mike might have been around at the beginning and remembered the answers to this. But anybody else chime in right now. I want please interact with me and let's talk, because this is the kind of stuff that we can really have some great conversations about. And I know I got the mic, right? But if I got enough interaction, enough questions, I'll stop and I will, we'll pull those up and we'll go right to those as often as we can. Yeah, Cool Frog servers watching. Awesome. Hope you guys all please stop by and give me a like if you're gonna do that. If you're gonna hang out in Discord and not be here part of the chat and interacting with me, because I need the interaction, man. My channel's hurting right now. I got demonetized. I'm trying to do a good thing here. I'm trying to entertain people, and I need all the help and love and support I can get to keep this thing rolling along and get this information out. And that's part of the things I'll try to talk about as we go along. But hey, like when a crazy old kooky conspiracy theorist can get 600 people on a given night just by showing up, I know that's 20 years there, right? We got to do better than that. And on this side of the world here, we got to do better than that, because we need to get to escape the doldrum of the normal kind of things that are out there, right? And at least one night a week, right? One night a week. That's why I want to dedicate a night to this and not make it everything. At least one night a week. We got to go deep. We got to go deeper than we've ever gone, and we got to keep that depth going in order to keep ourselves thinking. Like just reading and talking about what's happening today, and dwelling on the common issues of the reactions or the symptoms of the larger root cause issues isn't going to do anything but entertain you, and it maybe feel like information, but it's information entertainment, right? In a sense that, yes, I'll hear about this, it'll give me an emotional pull one way or another, and then we'll just move on with our lives, right? And so it does nothing. That's the purpose of solution culture, is to replace the awareness culture, or at least add to it, enhance it, give you a next step to go to along the way, right? How many decades are you going to sit around and listen to people tell you what's going on, invoke your emotions, and then wonder what the hell you can do with it? Just kind of sitting there feeling helpless, and you're thinking that the whole world's out to get you, right? I'm going to show you why this is set up this way. I'm going to show you why the world is presented this way, and what the reaction to that is as far as a system-wide effect goes, and why we keep getting this cycle of corruption that seems perpetual and unstoppable, right? That's the hopelessness of it. That's the hopelessness and the fear of both. So, Mike, did you answer that question? Say, Mike said that could actually be symbols. This is a very interesting question. Mike, you're on top of it, dude. You're in the 90 percentile, right? You're in the 90 percentile. See, I'd say yes, my conscious red gummies rock. I like the name. Are you from Colorado? My consciousness should be there to guide me. If not sound, maybe in text or pictures. Perfect, guys. Perfect. That's exactly right. The human OS, as it says there on the screen, is images, right? Images that are symbols and then are formed into archetypes. So as we look into AI, we kind of see a similar kind of setup, right? Is where you have this vector of information, all right? And this vector of information here has all sorts of information attached to it, right? So as we get into this image, right? So if I say the image war, the first thing that pops in your head is that vector image, and behind that you'll have these meanings attached. Now, I don't know who figured this out first, right? But whoever did is a freaking genius, because when you know this information right here, right? And there could be more things than just these bubbles that I put there. I put these bubbles here to help illustrate the kinds of things that can be contained inside this image. If you guys can think of more, I'll be happy to add it to it. That's what I'm saying. This is a group project, right? We're putting our minds together, right? We're not just here to hear me, lecture to you or anything like that. I'm going to give you the information I got. I'm going to tell you how I got it, right? And you're going to take that information and process it, and you're going to add to this. This is our journey together, right? This is things we're walking to. And I hope that you'll get out there and you'll tell more people about this, and you'll get excited about what's going on, and you'll help bring more people into this, because there's a lot of topics to cover. And I want to, the more people that can take this journey with this, the better off we're going to be in the long run, is in terms of having a growing collective consciousness of answers to these bigger questions that are out there. And you'll be able to use your mind too to put it to work in this way, right? To see things this way. I'm not anybody special here. Right? I'm just a person that has dedicated the time to doing this because, and I have an investigative kind of detective, drill to the root cause kind of personality and mentality already, but doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't either. It doesn't mean that you can't have one as well, right? It's just where you decide to channel your energy, which is again another overarching theme of this show. It's here to help us show where do we need to direct our energy in order to make a better reality for all of us, to be winning our reality instead of losing it, in a sense that we're always on the defense, that we're always reactive, that we have no part of us that is moving towards a solution outside of politics, right? Well, where the politics is an ebb and flow. And we will always fight that political battle if we don't understand the cycle of corruption that come and how that is formed, right? And I'm sure that there's a lot of second-veil people out there that already think they already have it figured out. And it's the New Order, Illuminati, blood curse, magic, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? I'm going to show you where that comes from, and I'm going to show you why it's there. I promise you that. If you keep an open mind, you'll be able to understand which of that is real and which of it's not, and what you need to be concerned about. But we're going to get to that. I have a tendency to want to jump ahead because I'm already ahead, right? So I want to jump ahead, and I have to like put the brakes on a lot and just tell the story. So you'll catch me reminding myself of that because I know that's a tendency that I have. So anyways, back to this. We have the human OS, and you guys are dead on when you're saying symbols and images, right? Yes, that's our base OS. So if you understand that, you understand how you can take an image or a symbol or an archetype and change the meaning of it in the human mind. And that's what this thing called ideological subversion is really about. It's about understanding how to exploit this part of the human mind right here, right? And then take it out into different realms. So outside of the image realm, we have the realm of the of language, right? So that's the language is where the manipulation can go, as far as the images, right? So you can change the meanings, you can change the feeling about it, you can change the way people talk about it and what it means, right? When you start changing these things, you start reprogramming the mind from what it should be to something different, right? Then I like to use the example of how they demonize Trump, and it's a classic demo on how to change the archetype of someone to a negative, from a positive to a negative, in order to get an effect, right? In order to turn people against them, in order to villainize them. This is how the poison well, rumor mill works. This is what they do. They start taking a good image of somebody and start turning it into a bad image of them, so that people have a different feeling about them, right? This is why I like the board. I can point to things I'm talking about now instead of just like kind of leaving people hanging in the never-ending thought verse of me trying to explain something. The with these illustrations, we'll make more of these, but I can actually point to these things, click on them, and be like, yeah, this is where I'm at right here. So what they did with Trump is they started changing the rhetoric and the image. They call the image of Hitler, they call the image of evil, darkness. Notice how they use dark, and all that stuff. That is these are techniques being used in real time, and whether these people realize that it is or not, or just knows that it works, it's what it is at the root. At the root, they're trying to change the archetype of what you take a man that was NCAA or NCCA or whatever, that the award-winning for all the good virtuous things in the world, and now you're going to turn him into a racist Hitler or whatever, and so you keep saying this over and over again, dark, and all these archetypes of evil that you have, right? And eventually, as people see it over and over again, their image of this person, these things start to become replaced with new meanings and new emotions and a new way of talking about it, and pretty soon that golden image of this person, that great image of that person, has changed. And this can happen to anybody at any time. This is why narcissists and people who run around spreading rumors and drama and toxicity in the world are very dangerous people, even if they're doing it with a giggly little smile on their face, because they are manipulating people, whether they know it or not, whether it's just a habit it's formed, or they think it's funny, or whatever it is they think they're doing. Over time, with enough of it concentrated at a bigger level, but perhaps that's what's going on in terms of this world. And they say, well, that's just the way things are, right? Perhaps, or maybe there's a bigger kind of like system of meaning that's happening behind this that kind of has made this normalized, right? We can talk about subversion. It's the normalization of something, and the end of it, right? So you change something from one thing to another by a devious means, right? And then it's normalized. So take the journey of Trump, the regular guy, the lovable billionaire who helps everybody out and very philanthropist, isn't known to be part of the crowd, but still has the money and the power to be seen in that crowd. But very likable. And then by the time we're voting on him for president, he's this horrible monster. It's going to start World War III and do all these horrible things, right? This was a conditioned image of him. The conditions had to be run through over and over again over a year's time. And still, they didn't stop after the election. It still kept going, right? Still more diminishing. Now he's a Russian agent. Now he's this. Now he's that. Now all these women are coming for him. See, it's this constant smear that's going on. And when you understand how that works, you can see how much effort is put into this general practice out in the establishment narrative, right? The first veil of reality. And this is a common practice. This is what starts to stink to a lot of people. They start to kind of feel this, see it, understand it in some way on their own, and the distrust subconsciously to consciously starts to form, right? They know inherently this is a wrong thing to do, yet they see it happening all the time, people going along with it, and even themselves. We've all been caught up in this. We've all been part of this control structure in our lives. It's inescapable. It's one of the things that we all have in common. So as we break free, and we're the people that break free from the initial image, the initial narrative, the initial veil perception, right? There's different reasons that we break free, and this will be covered on this series as well. Again, we're just recapping here. So as we look at that, right, we started looking at ideological subversion, and we walked through what the processes that is. Now, I've kind of listed that out in a different way, but part of understanding that process, which is I've listed it out kind of in this other way right down here, where I talk about the different veils, right? So we're born into the ideological subversion that's going on in the society, and most societies in general, right? And then as we go along, these different aspects of ideological subversion start to show themselves, and where they're kind of coming from is how I have them listed here. I have a feeling that this chart is kind of a combination of ideas, so we might be having to sort through them a little bit as we go. But I want y'all's help for that. Let me stop and take a look at the chat real quick. Okay, yeah. Let's see. What about knowledge memories? They can technically be personal experiences, except they may lend in more than one area. Also, other senses like smell, taste, and lessons learned. Yeah, they're all recall. The senses are all recall, right? They're recall. So that helps us understand what's in front of us and helps us better and deal with this. You're smelling something to eat. You can see the image of this of whatever it is you're going to eat. You go find it, you eat it. It's kind of that thing, right? So the senses are definitely involved, and I think that we can probably go through the saying someone that's never seen a symbol in their life, right? What do we know about that? How would they put together construction? They're still actually building symbols in their mind. That's the wild thing, is they actually still are building symbols in their mind for things. And as they begin to use their touch and their feel, their hearing and their sense of feel, right? They start to be able to create those shapes in their minds. The mind is still trying to draw and create images even when it's blind. It's crazy, isn't it? But it's the way it works. That's how you know that we're on target when it comes to how the human OS works. And then when you look at how they're constructing AI, right? They're trying to base it off the human brain model, and that's what we know. That's what we are. So we end up constructing things like computers and hard drives and all these things based on our human mind already. So they're just kind of like offshoots of that, right? And yeah, so that builds and builds on that. But we're always trying to work towards images. That's why images are so and memeology is so effective, right? That you can pull a meme out and do something effective with more effective with the visuals of something than you can necessarily just talking about it. It's a more powerful kind of way to influence. So yeah, so we So we look at the world and we see things through the lens of subversion as well. We always try to look at that, like what part of subversion is happening, what is this for? Obviously, you have to divide in order to destabilize, and you have to destabilize in order to bring to crisis. And then once you bring to crisis, you have the opportunity to pose as the savior with the solution, and then normalize the new reality, right? And this is happening constantly. I think people look for these big blocks to happen because of the way Yuri explains it. They say, okay, well, now we're here, now we're here, now we're here. I think this actually runs along the lines of everything in a certain way, right? When it comes to ideas, it's not just one big motion, although he uses it in a sense of warfare, psychological warfare from one big country to another, like a superpower to superpower. But this psychology was what it is. Psych warfare has been adopted and adapted to be part of almost everything that we get to be involved in. And when I show you how these attach to the veils in society, you're gonna be like, whoa, okay. It opens up even another realm to that ideological subversion stuff we learned early on. And I encourage you to go look at the earlier shows. You can fast forward to the Yuri parts. Don't you don't have to listen to me try to figure out what to say, but you can fast forward to the Yuri parts and just learn from him, or just go watch Yuri in general, right? Those videos don't need any extra views unless you want to give it to them. They are especially since I'm demonetized right now, and I'll be working on getting that straight. And memberships will come back, by the way. They're just paused for 90 days, and if I don't win my appeal, then they just go away and they refund your money. If I do win my appeal, then you're back on and everything's good, right? I'll be showing my appeal video before I send it. I want everybody to see it. It's going to include a lot of the issues that we face today on YouTube. I'm going to put down and basically go into the AI stuff with them. I'm gonna show my whole deck and of work and say good luck finding anything that isn't transformed on my channel. I mean, outside of something very, very brief, you're not going to find anything that's not been transformed in some way, shape, or form according to the letter of the law, right? So how the mind works, and I will show that video. It'll be coming soon because I have to get it in by May 22nd. So I'll probably be working on that next. I'll talk a little bit more about Saturday night later on. But anyways, as we start to learn how the human mind works, we also see and how the people will use this type of knowledge to their advantage to manipulate or control people to keep them in these boxes, right? We also have to understand how our mind works in dealing with situations, right? So a lot of people know this as the stages of grief, but I've learned this right here can apply to the stages of belief, right? So when you have a strong belief system and you strongly believe in something and you've convinced yourself that it's the absolute truth, whatever it may be, right? It could be about a person or a topic or just an idea, right? But you have this kind of setup here, right? And this is what you believe something. You have the belief system in place, but to get to that belief system, to adopt the belief itself, we have this thing called the buyer's journey, right? So the buy-in journey, and that's where you become aware of something, right? You're presented or you find research on it to qualify its awareness, to give you a better understanding of it, and you start to make considerations about what the topic is, whether it's a belief, something that you're going to want to believe in, or you should believe in, or don't believe in, or what is your issues or your likes and dislikes about it. All right, and then you make a decision on whether to adopt it or whether to buy it, right? This is the same thing as a new product, right? You got it's brand new product. Here it is. It's great, right? It's great for streamers. It's great for people who go on YouTube. Here's the research that shows you all about it, what it does, and why it's so great. Here's why you should use it, and would you like to buy it? Okay. Now you take it a step further, and you can go from here into what is the solution, kind of like implementing solutions. So you have a solution, you implement a solution, you resolve the issue, right? It's a step past decision making when the decision's about a fix or something, an optimization or a new implementation of something, right? So you take it to these next few steps when it has to do with that. But when you challenge someone's belief system, as we've all probably seen, and we say, "Hey, guess what? What you think about the Democrat Party is just an illusion, right? It's just a presentation, a marketing public relations, it's perception management, right? Let me show you why, and you start listening to all these corrupt things that they do and how they. And I'm just using this as an example, but how it's hypocritical. You can use that on both sides. So if, you want to imagine it's Republicans, go ahead. But the but then you'll get a lot of resistance here in the denial stage, right? They'll start to resisting you with the confirmation biases, and that's why you see this is a blast open, like, big topic. Anybody who's into conspiracies or think that the whole world can be figured out by understanding the word New World Order, right, or Illuminati or any of that crap, they they're going to fight you right here too. They're going to fight you harder probably than someone who doesn't is a Democrat for life and is going to tell you that you're wrong and that the establishment narrative is what's right. So I challenge those people who feel this cognitive dissonance or any kind of fight or flight when it comes to this information to remember that when you do give into this part of it, the anger part of it, when the information starts to make more sense than the information that you have, or you don't have a rebuttal for it, right? The next stage is anger. And that comes from cognitive dissonance, and that leads to a fight or flight response. So I challenge those people who think they have figured out and have their minds open and they're totally living in truth and all that. I challenge you to get through this stage with me, right? Don't let this get to you. Keep an open mind, because if your beliefs are real, then you should have no problem walking through these stages with me and coming to this place. And if you present a good argument, I'll change my mind. See, because our motto is what? Rather know the truth than be right. That's right, because that's one of the first stages to doing this. And I think I actually put that in the corner of somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So I throw down our logos, our sayings as we go. So right here, I'd rather know the truth than be right. Right? Can you say that honestly? Can you look yourself in the mirror and say that? That when people start blowing up and getting angry and doing this stage right here, when they hear stuff like this, they take off. I don't want to hear that. I think we lost a person like White when I brought this up. So I expect that, because I know the challenges of it, and I know I will run people off. That at some point, if they can't get past this part, not everybody, but some people, right? They don't want to hear it. They got it all figured out, right? They got it all figured out. They don't want to hear this. So, but see, if you stick with me, you're going to find out that there's a reason for that, and that you're fine. You're fine. Like, everybody has to go through these stages of understanding in order to see kind of the bigger and bigger pictures in the world, right? And I don't think I have it all figured out, but I think I have a way of figuring it out, and I think I have a way that may help anybody out there figure it out. And as we walk through these stages together, and I show you all the different little aspects of it, if you keep an open mind and you hear me out and you see it through and you do some thinking about it, I think you'll find out where I'm coming from, and that it's all from a place of unity and bringing people to the light and getting past all this deceit and disinformation that's in this world, right? That's been a almost 20 year plus, almost 20 years. I'll just say almost 20 years journey for me at this point. So definitely something that I've taken seriously and put a lot of work into, and I've changed my mind a lot over the years as well. I started the same place everybody else did. We all start in the same place. So let's take a look at that real quick. I have this, you may have seen a little bit of this, but I have this thing right here to kind of give us an illustration of where we are. So we're born in this world, right? And this is you, and you're born in this world, and you have your base understanding as a small infant in this world, and then as a child you have your parents and your family around you, and you're tucked in this nice neat little bubble where it's all about you, and you're growing up, and that your world is about this big, right? Well, then you start to get ready to go to school and get out in the real world, and you start meeting other kids, other parents, people outside your family, and you start understanding a little bit about the world that's around you. And now you're being introduced to what's called the first veil perception, right? What you are believing and taking in for the first time, imprinting on you. And I want you to keep this in mind, because when I say imprinting on you, when you see things for the first time, you have that initial imprint. I say first impressions last a lifetime, right? There's reason for that. And it's because it's the first time we're being imprinted, and we're forming that image, and with that information attached to that vector of information in our memory. And see, did I catch this already? Yeah, okay. Personal experiences too. Yeah, those to always do They always do. You could have several personal experiences that add onto that bubble of information, right? And they can also be changed. It's like why people forget all the good things we do, right? Because the bad things kind of stick out more. Or if you make a mistake and people want to dwell on that and make that who you are, then if it's deserving or not, that bubble can grow and grow and grow. So when you imagine, sorry, I'm gonna break train of thought here real quick because that's a good point. When you imagine these bubbles here, imagine them like being able to grow, right? Grow and change, right? And say they can change from one thing to another. So if it's a good impression, so maybe it's a good impression. We got the green, right? For good, and then it starts to become a bad, in between indifferent, yellow, and then maybe it starts to go red, danger, danger, right? So you can think of it that way, whatever way works for you, right? And I like that idea of thinking of it like that. So that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up, because we'll continue to use that kind of analogy for it. I hope that answered your question. Let's go back over to the big who are you here, right? And so as you drill in, you're out there, and this is where most of us spend our lives. We're always going to be able to see this veil. You see where we are and see where the veil is. We'll always be able to see it. But as we start to look deeper into things, right? Maybe the first veil just isn't working out for us. Like we've had a rough life. Everything isn't peaches and cream. Generally, the people in the first veil either don't have what it takes, and I don't mean this in a cruel way or anything, but they don't have what it takes mentally to get outside the influence of it. And there's a bell curve in this world, so there's a bell curve for everything. So that's acceptable. So they're happy tucked right in this little area. They don't want to know much more about it. You bring it up, they're like, no, 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 no. They kind of already know it's a little bit outside of them, their capabilities or their care, right? But there's also people that do very well in this realm, right? I call the happy-go-lucky crowd. And the happy-go-lucky crowd are your people, are your friends that were always on the ball growing up, always successful. Like, doesn't seem like they had that many problems. If they did, they were easily, overcome in an easy way. Even tragedies, they seem to breeze through and come out better on the other side for. These people, right? You know who I'm talking about. I got one friend who's had over 25 years of financial stability. Has been at the same job for that long, making six figures. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know many people like that, especially in my job. But there are people like that. I mean, he wants nothing to do with anything outside the first veil. He'll make up things to stay inside the first veil. And I have other friends that are the same way. They've always just been running the show, and they've had a lot of money, and they haven't had a lot of issues, and they have the storybook, coming out of college, get married, have kids thing going on, right? And so why would they want the first veil to change? Why would they want someone to come along and tell them there's something wrong with that, right? They don't. And they're going to sit right there in that field of denial until the end of time. And that's okay. These people. You tried to wake them up probably. You probably tried to get through to them and say, hey, they're lying to you in the media. They don't care. They're like, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Things will work out. Lie all you want. I got it good. That's the happy-go-lucky people, right? So this first veil is where we spend our entire lives, and some people never leave it. But if you understand that this first veil is set up in such a way, right, as to keep you barriered in, right, as to keep you kind of in this bucket, right, of information, so that you can be controlled, or at least the situation can be controlled, right, to a point. Trust the authorities. It makes it easier for them to get things passed through, get your consent, to manufacture your consent for the things they want to do, right? Trust the system, trust this politician, trust all these things, right? That's what that's what you're brought to understand and learn. And if you do it right your entire life, you're just have this happy-go-lucky life, or maybe you're just lucky by chance, right? That nothing has completely come along and destroyed the family that you have, and that and all the any success or whatever that has come along with it, put you guys in hard times and put you all in a situation where you couldn't thrive, right? So if you're lucky enough to get through all that, you have a pretty good life, and you're just living the high life, and you're having fun. These people. We were all there. We all strive for that. But as you pull out, and a lot of people have that confirmation bias. They don't want to leave that. They're all tucked into their little information. So when you feel that frustration of talking to someone in the first veil, and you're in the second veil, I want you to keep that in mind for You know, I want you to keep that in mind. I mean, how much are you just like them in this sense, right? Are you ready to fight to make sure that your chemtrails stay in the sky, even though they're not real? Are you willing to fight to prove that, you know, it's all this big dark secret thing going on behind closed doors with the devil in charge, the head of the seat, because you want your religion to be right, because you want your ideas to be right? See what I'm saying? Right versus truth, right? Well, you can't be objective at that point. You're not objective. And so the system that's built understands that not everybody is going to stay behind the first veil, right? If they're smart enough to understand how to build the system of control using information from the start, and it's been here since before you were born, right? Don't you think they're smart enough to build a second one? This is the thing that just blows my mind about the conspiracy theory realm, right? Is that people think that they get here and they understand everything and they know everything. Well, they got the white papers and stuff. They wrote it out. Oh, really? They handed you the information they wanted you to think. That's interesting, right? That's interesting. Where did all this information come from? You know, and then you peel back the veil, right? You start to ask yourself, where? Let me get off this real quick, okay? We're gonna stop right here for a moment at the second veil, because these two the first and second veil are worthy of several episodes of conversation, right? I'm not going to leave you hanging on the third veil, though, because I need you to understand what that is. Some people I've already talked to about it, but I need you to understand how that creates the first two veils. And that actually helps break free some second veil people and helps them see the bigger picture. And that's what I'm really striving for here now, is because guess what? Most people are stuck behind this, either the first veil or the second veil in this world right now. If you're out there and you're reading, reacting to things that are going on, and you're not asking more questions about why this exists the way it does, yeah, you're firmly in this boat. You're not going to like a lot of things I have to say if you're really committed to that train of thought that the world is only this big, right? But the truth of the matter is it's that big. And what we're going to look at now is, as I drill in here, is we're going to look at the first and second veil, right? We'll look at them both at the same time. Because we kind of already understand that the first veil is because we've been through it, right? Ourselves, we grew up with it. Can I get rid of this thing? I think I can. Does that work? No. All right. I gotta present it. I gotta present it in a certain way. I just went over the board. Did I just do that? I hope that didn't screw anything up. All right. There we go. Oh, that looks better. All right, here we go. All right, so in the first veil, right? And we can start to move these things down to the target as we go. I think that's kind of what I had in mind. I just wanted to kind of list it out so people could see it. So we got 5 going on right now. I forgot to put this on Rumble. Damn it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you leave this, you go right back to the second veil, and you go right back to the first veil, right? And your information stops. It cuts off, right? Oh, what's going on? Where's the drama? Where's the drama at? You know, let me go find the drama to listen to. That's entertaining. Let me go find the shit crowd to listen to so they can just shit on everything. Let me go find this crowd. You're not getting anywhere. Nothing's going to change. I mean, just, you know what you might as well do? If you're going to do that, you might as well just go get yourself a big sack of fucking whatever you like to do, right? And go outside, leave your computer right now, go outside and find the frickin' party and party your life away. Go do it, because, you know, you're not going to change. You're not, if you think you're on here and you're going to affect change and you're going to do something, just know who to vote for, go vote for them, and then call it a day. Because the bigger thing that's going on here and that has been going on here for a long time isn't going to change. It's not going to change, right? So that just ran one more person off. So that's good, right? Eventually we'll have a room full of people who actually want to move forward. But you know, like I said when I explained it in the beginning, this is what's going on, and it goes on with people who turn on CNN every night and say that that's the goddamn truth, and it's even worse with people who turn on the conspiracy theorists to say that's the truth. They're even worse than the people in the first veil. And I know that they're going to be worse. And I know they're going to fight harder because they're stubborn ones, right? At the end, here in a little bit, I want to play the Plato's Cave, right? Plato's Cave is the perfect analogy. In fact, I'll start queuing that up. But I wanted to show you what I was talking about with the first veil of information, right? We come in here, we got the government politics the way it's presented to us, this left-right paradigm. And I'm talking from an American perspective, by the way, but I'm sure this can apply worldwide. We have the public schools, the public universities, and we have social media, corporate media, That includes advertising and all the economics of the world that span from here to here. We have the activists in the lobbies, and we have controlled religion, right? So we have these big religious groups that are controlled from a central point, like a church or a synagogue or a mosque or whatever you want to call it, has as a central leader, right? It's not just a person on a religious journey, understanding whatever their religion is and getting the truth from that religion about the world and the analogies that they lay out. No, they're hardcore. So the people who put down other people for having a hardcore religion that have one, I laugh at. They're just as controlled as the others. I'm not saying that all religion does this, and I'm not saying all churches do it, but it's a system of control within the first veil. So yes, there are many churches and many leaders of churches that are not on the up and up about what they're doing. We've seen them before. We know who they are. We know they exist. It's not a big surprise. So as we go through all the different ways we're influenced inside the first veil, we have things like now like social media. Of course, we've had Hollywood for a long time. I have what I call the manufactured music industry. These control emotions, right? If you look at these things and what they do, a lot of it's emotional control, right? And that's why the first two veils we call, we did call it. Where did it go? Anyways, we call these the frames went away when I started presenting, right? Okay, yeah, there it is. All right. Call these the informational based mind control veils, right? So within these veils, if you stay in these veils, you will only understand what is within them, right? Now, the people in the second veil can see into the first veil. The people in the first veil can look at the second veil. They don't understand what's there, and a lot of them have never been through and into it, right? So they don't even have an idea what you're talking about when you start talking about, you know, these type of topics, right? These conspiracy topics. They don't have any idea what you're talking about. Like even if you talk about the troll culture, that's on YouTube and online, they don't know what you're talking about. They think they're talking about the smart ass in the comments, right? Not the more toxic and deadly ones that connect up the ladder to bigger things. And again, this is what this information is going to be able to do for people. It's going to show them this other realm of existence that you really don't get to see unless you dive into it. And I had the fortunate uh, calling to actually have to go in and walk through that world for a minute. So that's where I came to this understanding, and also where I learned about a lot more. The doors were open, and they wouldn't have been open had I not walked through the first one, right? So that journey, each journey takes us further deeper into understanding and perceiving our reality. And if we just stop and decide that we know it all, you're stagnated, and you won't get to see the rest of the picture. In fact, you become part of the problem at that point, and that's the big fear I have, is becoming part of the problem, enabling the system, and in a bad way, enabling the system to continue. That's what keeps me from ever kind of like really settling down and saying, okay, well, that's got to be it. And there's just one question to understand at the end of it all, to know if you got it or not. And they don't have anything to do with this. Doesn't have anything to do with this stuff right here. All right. So as we look into the first and second video, I want you to keep this in mind. And when I was talking about the resistance that's going to happen when you try, just like the resistance when you're trying to tell people, hey, there's a left-right paradigm out there. These guys are on the same team. This is where it started for me. When I started, my very first mission in this whole journey was to help people understand the left-right paradigm. Right? It wasn't 9/11. It wasn't anything like that. But as a result of these more those kind of experiences and those kind of things that have happened to us, it shook this narrative away. Right? It made me realize that to have a future, the way things were going wasn't looking good for people that in my family that weren't even born yet. Right? So it was already starting to gnaw at me from one side. But then when I became fully aware that I cannot trust this veil any longer, and that there's more to this world, that's when this realization comes to be. And it came to be like this. Basically, trying to figure out, well, how the hell I was going to survive with these student loans that it's got. Like, it's very young. And so I started looking for answers politically, and I run into this thing where I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be a Bush and a Clinton and a Bush and a Clinton. This isn't right. That really kind of spurred me awake more than anything. was realizing that we had this like shared monarchy going on. And hey, guys, I hope I'm not talking your ear off. Please feel free to chime in and say anything at any time. I'll see your question and I'll pop over and talk about it. I know some people just probably are just listening to me in the background. That's great. I'm happy that you're here. But please feel free to interact at any point. Right now, we're going to talk about this left-right paradigm, right? So I went out there and I what I did was for the very first time I looked up some definitions of words that I've been hearing through the media and through my friends forever, but never cared to look up before, right? Never cared to understand past what I thought I knew about it. This is when I started changing my mind about the way information works, and that that getting these big arguments with people like at the first fail level about Democrat Republican, and it gets to be very crazy, right? And even in some point, you get angry at people you should used to just have a good time with, and they get angry at you, and it's not what's going on with that? Why can't we either one of us figure out what's the right thing to do? And they kind of just throw their hands up and say, well, that's just the way it is, and there's just the way people are, and so on. They don't need an explanation. They're just happy with that. The Well, I started searching for a way to get this student loan problem under control, right? And I found out more and more and more stuff about the way the money works, and about the way politics work. And this Bush Clinton like dual monarchy that was going on, to me, was just a sign of, okay, well, this is gonna make things worse, right? This looks really bad. I started getting into some of the documentaries. But then the big change was like, the Ron Paul change, right? Ron Paul showed up and said, hey, guess what? These guys aren't doing it right. And if you look up the definition of the word conservative and the definition of the word liberal, and you try to apply them to modern day Republicans and Democrats, they aren't doing what they say they're supposed to be doing, right? They're not living their name. So the names that people toss around in the first field, this left-right paradigm, they're inconsequential. They don't make any sense, right? When the conservatives aren't being conservatives and the liberals aren't being liberal. So they're just trash names, right? But then you have someone who stands out from the crowd, like Ron Paul, who brought the philosophy of liberty back to the mainstream, who re-explained it to an entire generation. That's why Ron Paul went to colleges and talked. That's why Ron Paul did the tour. He was on tour and he didn't care about the debates, the media, or anything like that. I think he knew deep down the system wasn't ready for him, but that he had to use his opportunity to reach the younger generation. That is the sign of a very wise man, right? A very wise person, because they see how the system works. That inspires more trust to me than anything, because they understand the system is all about subverting the young to change the culture. That's exactly what's been happening to us since the day we were born. All right, it's a generational thing. Adults, we're young, we feel like the center of the universe, and we are. But we get older, and some of us don't lose that feeling, and they still think that everything's about them, especially before they have kids. That's why I encourage you to have, if you can't have children, do have children. Don't be scared of the world. Don't be a wuss. If I could do it, anybody can do it. Believe me, you'll figure it out, and you'll be better for it, and you'll be happier for it. I promise you that. But that's what's going on here, and every year, every day of every year, it's always about this. And I want you to realize this a bit above all, right? Is that all these efforts and everything that's going out there, all this subversion, you and I as adults, we're finished products. We're done. We either fell here or here. We either fell over here or we fell over here, right? They plan to have us in one of these two buckets. And that's what I'm trying to tell all the conspiracy people over here, right? You're not as free as you think you are. All right. You're in a bucket too. And it took me a long time to figure this out. Why do you think all the information was there waiting for you? Why do you think you have no answers to these questions? Right? And what do you end up relying on? People like this are, actually, there's another category that needs to be put in here right next to these guys. This is what I'm saying. It's always a working project. It's called the conspiracy grifter. And that's what my recent journey has been about, understanding. And that's what some of the people, oops, I spelled that wrong. Thank you. Love spell check. They'll love you. All right. So the conspiracy grifter, right? These guys, knowingly operate a deceitful practice for the most part. I mean, I guess there are some people that are just strictly effective victims. You'll know them by the ones that pull away, right? I would say that if you remember Jan Irvin that was on here, he was talking about how he woke up one day as already made it in the world of information and had his thing with the trivium and understood that he was surrounded by conspiracy grifters, and that's why he walked away. Like that's the behind the scenes conversation, right? That and then to back that up at the other time, another person I was talking to that's been working on things for like 5 years or more in this realm right here, right? Has found the same thing to be true, that the conspiracy grifters are a part of maintaining the second veil and keeping people trapped and locked in. And some people do it willingly and some people do it unknowingly, but they're all part of it. Like the Drake Baileys, the monographs, all these people, they're all part of this veil, whether they understand that they are or not. They think they got all the answers because they got all this information that was freaking handed to them. Okay, it's when you take a step back, you're going to see that this stuff doesn't add up, and there's a reason why. Because this was created to be the catch-all for everybody who crawled out of the bucket here. The crabs that escaped this bucket fell right into this bucket, and there's a bunch more crabs sitting there waiting to make sure that you don't go to the other side. Now, I don't know how many of them understand why or what. Doesn't matter, right? That's the point where you can kind of let go of some things and kind of just move forward. But I do want to go ahead and move towards getting that Plato's Cave, because that explains so much about what we're seeing in the world that it just blows your mind. Like, and I think that this one person did it really well. So give me a second while I try to pull that video up. I meant to do it earlier, but I actually took a nap right before the show, and I kind of woke up like with like 15 minutes to go. So yeah, this is me jumping right out of bed, refreshed. But that just feels good. I feel like kind of back to my normal self here. Finally, I had like a couple weeks there. I was just really tired. Let's see. I wanted to do this right. Is it fits the clip? Let me see. I'm just working this out here. Oh yeah, here it is. This is a great allegory. It's a TED talk too, so I'm gonna have to like probably stop it. Um, I don't know why the TED talk is. It's not. Is it live? No, it's not live at all. I don't understand. So it's TED Ed, whatever that means. 18.5 million people have subscribed to that channel, and 6.3 million people have seen this video. Incredible. All right, let me put this over here and get you all set up. Okay, so this right here is going to kind of explain what I was talking about in a different way. But okay, here we go. In a different way, but it's also going to kind of give you the mentality of these two people. So there's three people in the cave, right? We be the third, right? So theirs be the first, there would be the second. So let's take a look at this, and I think you'll find it very entertaining here and enlightening. And if you don't know what the allegory of Plato's Cave is, you're getting ready to learn. It's an important allegory to understand about human nature and reality itself. Brilliant. Here we go.
What is reality? Knowledge, the meaning of life. Big topics you might tackle figuratively, explaining existence as a journey down a road or across an ocean, a climb, a war, a book, a thread, a game, a window of opportunity, or an all too short-lived flicker of flame. 2,400 years ago, one of history's most famous thinkers said life is like being chained up in a cave, forced to watch shadows flitting across a stone wall.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this as we go along, just because it's TEDx, and I don't know about this whole. I don't know if they'll like try to take the stream down. I'm keeping an eye on it in the background, but if it does, we'll just keep stopping it. I don't have to worry about getting copyright claimed or demonetized or whatever. So screw them.
Pretty cheery, right? That's actually what Plato suggested in his Allegory of the Cave, found in Book 7 of the Republic, in which the Greek philosopher envisioned the ideal society by examining concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. In the allegory, a group of prisoners have been confined in a cavern since birth with no knowledge of the outside world. They are chained facing a wall, unable to turn their heads. while a fire behind them gives off a faint light. Occasionally, people pass by the fire carrying figures of animals and other objects that cast shadows on the wall. The prisoners name and classify these illusions, believing they're perceiving actual entities. Suddenly, one prisoner is freed and brought outside for the first time. The sunlight hurts his eyes, and he finds the new environment disorienting. When told that the things around him are real, while the shadows were mere reflections, he cannot believe it. The shadows appeared much clearer to him, but gradually his eyes adjust until he can look at reflections in the water, at objects directly, and finally at the sun, whose light is the ultimate source of everything he has seen. The prisoner returns to the cave to share his discovery, but he is no longer used to the darkness and has a hard time seeing the shadows on the wall. The other prisoners think the journey has made him stupid.
So, can anybody relate to this moment right here? This seems so familiar.
And blind, and violently resist any attempts to free them. Plato introduces this passage as an analogy of what it's like to be a philosopher trying to educate the public. Most people are not just comfortable in their ignorance, but hostile to anyone who points it out. In fact, the real-life Socrates was sentenced to death by the Athenian government for disrupting the social order, and his student Plato spends much of the Republic disparaging Athenian democracy, while promoting rule by philosopher kings. With the cave parable, Plato may be arguing that the masses are too stubborn and ignorant to govern themselves. But the allegory has captured imaginations for 2,400 years because it can be read in far more ways. Importantly, the allegory is connected to the theory of forms developed in Plato's other dialogues, which holds that, like the shadows on the wall, things in the physical world are flawed reflections of ideal forms, such as roundness or beauty. In this way, the cave leads to many fundamental questions, including the origin of knowledge, the problem of representation, and the nature of reality itself. For theologians, the ideal forms exist in the mind of a creator. For philosophers of language viewing the forms as linguistic concepts, the theory illustrates the problem of grouping concrete things under abstract terms. And others still wonder whether we can really know that the things outside the cave are any more real than the shadows. As we go about our lives, can we be confident in what we think we know? Perhaps one day a glimmer of light may punch a hole in your most basic assumptions. Will you break free to struggle towards the light, even if it costs you your friends and family? Or stick with comfortable and familiar illusions? Truth or habit? Light or shadow? Hard choices, but if it's any consolation, you're not alone. There are lots of us down here.
So pretty cool, huh? I think that gives a good idea of kind of the condition of the world, right? So if we go back to the board, we can see that hold on a second. Stop sharing that. All right. And let's share this. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. So we can start to see like where everybody kind of fits into this right here, right? So the first veil generally is the first guy that was in the we'll put it right up here. Generally is the first type of guy we saw in there, right? So they say we're ignorance is bliss, right? And this isn't a bad word. We're not trying to call these people ignorant. We're just saying this is a condition, right? The condition of this first veil. A lot of it is just ignorance, right? So when ignorance is replaced, right, with knowledge or some knowledge or different knowledge, right, we kind of get over to this realm, right, where we say, okay, well, this narrative, there's something wrong with this. So these people are offering these narratives that tend to add on to this narrative over here, right? But then try to provide some kind of answers, right? Or some types of reasons, or some reasons why we don't have the answers. And this goes into the stubborn. Oh no, don't we know. I get it, right? I get it. I've been there. The But yeah, it is a stubborn because you'll find that that in this realm of know-it-allism, that people tend to think they got it all figured out, right? And then what happens? You get these things. So all of these mighty leaders of the conspiracy realm bring us the great works of things like crisis actors and staged events. They bring us QAnon. They bring us the Galactic Federation of Light. They bring us the flat Earth, the moon landing hoax, the chemtrails, all the things that help us live in fear. In the conspiracy realm, the idea is to live in fear, right? So everybody over in this realm, and I think I forgot one of some of our main ones here. I got to put over here that you'll find. Um, they take both of these veils take a little bit of truth and spin it into something else, right? And as we look at kind of the way that they interact with each other, this information-based mind control system right here, this is a generational grooming process, right? So you go through this first veil, and if you don't fall into one of these holes and get stuck there, right, and you slip through the cracks, you end up over on this side, right? And that's where generally people tend to stay. And so then you'll adopt one of these philosophies over here. Let me add two more to the board real quick. This is a good spot for this. So, what you talk about the New World Order? They talk about it all the time. Yeah, do you know what it means? It's like, do you know what it means? See, people put their own meaning on this idea. It gets talked about over and over and over again by these people who say it with like this. They don't say it with this menacing, ha ha ha, we're coming for you kind of thing. They say it in this very economical sense. That's what kind of like, and believe me, I was full on. I've said this word many times, and I've proposed that it is, that was the answer, right? That this whole thing was about this. And into a sense, it definitely leads you to believe that. And the way they use it willingly, and I think they know they use it in a way that confuses people. Maybe not, but it does leave you to feel that way. And it's really easy to connect the dots and say, yes, this is what they want, this is what they want, this is what they want. But there's while we're collecting all this evidence, putting all these dots together to prove this point, the what happens is you lose the kind of the context of it, right? And of course, there's the vaulted Illuminati. So yes, that's right. Probably not. Let's see. Illuminati. Good enough. All right. Yeah, no, that's actually right. Okay. So yeah, they're these guys, right, with the blood rituals and the right, because just like the aliens, the elites have nothing better to do than dance around. And so was this a thing at one time? Probably. Is it a thing now? I'm spelling it wrong. The not in a sense that people want you to believe it there in this realm right here, right? You can call a collection of people this if you want, but as we're going to try to learn as we go along, you don't need to have a freaking boardroom full of people making decisions in order for these two things to exist, right? They can exist actually as a byproduct of something, and that's going to be probably one of the hardest things to kind of understand is that these conditions, these veils have been put up as byproducts of something, a bigger, larger thing that's going on, and they're both used to cloud the truth about the world. So even the people that are on this side who said, okay, well, I'm definitely above it because I'm not part of this, right? So the answers must be here in some form that I've been given by somebody else, right? That I've been, the information that's been provided conveniently allowed to exist. And I tell you what, if you want any kind of idea that the existence of this information isn't welcome and isn't encouraged, just take a look at YouTube. Take a look at YouTube right now. Right now on YouTube, all the people who perpetrated this right here, the crisis actor staged events, all the people who are part of that, all the people who are part of the Sandy Hook parental harassment are still on YouTube and they are monetized. Do you hear me? Look, they're still on YouTube and they're still monetized. Okay. Alex Jones got deplatformed across the internet for things that these people did. And there's people that I know that still enable the person who is behind Sandy Hook. And they think he's a great guy. Let's just all be friends. Let's all be friends. I just want any drama. Look at pussies, man. These people hurt other people. and they kind of like they keep people living in fear, right? This isn't a solution. This is an actionable item. What this led to is a harassment of parents whose children who were just killed. If you've ever had if you don't have a child or you ever had a child, that's the very worst thing that can happen. So yeah, good, great people, man. Awesome people. Yeah, keep enabling them. Keep supporting them. Uncover your own ass. All right, because you're weak and you're scared. The no, we have to see through these. We can't allow people to fall into these traps and be stuck there. The alternative information needs to be out there. That no, we're not this. We're not supporting any of this stuff over here. But we sure hell don't support this either. Neither one is the answer. Neither one is the answer to our problems or the answer to why it's there. And as we still continue to go along, understanding the things that we learn along the way, and we see how these things connect, we're going to form a full picture of this. And it doesn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. It's not going to happen overnight for anybody else. But this worksheet that we have here can put all the pieces together for us and connect all the dots. So what I want to do is like as we go along in the series, I want to take us step by step and go through each one of these, not meticulously, but give it the attention it deserves. Like we're doing high level tonight to kind of get us to the third veil. And I want to start our journey just sticking with the first three veils. And then as we start to expand out, we're going to start to see a lot of it. People are going to, I know that are going to see, and one day we'll flash, yeah, we're going to hash that out too. Or why people need it, right? It's more like why do they need it? And what does it do for the overall society to have a faction of people that are trapped in this realm right here? Moose. Yeah, and let's see what my friend TR says. You're saying that there aren't cabals of people out there trying to control massive amounts of people that would call for a new order. Yes, and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. So that's the take that I would expect people to say, right? That's the second veil take on things. But when you expand it, you're going to see that it's a bigger thing going on than that. But that's where they want you to be at. They want you to say, okay, that's the end. This is it. This is what it is. Okay, everybody go to sleep now. Go to sleep. Do they offer any solutions with this, right? Are we supposed to vote them out? How are we supposed to take all that money away, right? All that power away, all that influence away? They offer those solutions to you, or they just tell you that's what it is, and then it's all part of some blood ritual, so they can feel like they're victims, right? They can live in fear about that. That's what it is. It's all these stories. Remember what I talked about the conspiracy grifters, right? These guys are hand in hand, right? So you're going to trust some conspiracy grifter to tell you the truth that the whole point of this is this thing. Let me tell you something. The New World Order is already here. It's already been here, but it's not some kind of system where George Soros and David Rockefeller sit at some big evil table with the devil and dish out orders of enslavement. This is the fear. This is the fear. This is where you're supposed to go when you get here. You're supposed to think. And I tell you, does anybody remember like kind of making this journey from first veil to second veil? Was it not scary when you first got in here? Did you not see things that totally frightened you and kept you up at night? Tell me you did. Tell me everything was normal when you got here, right? Tell me everything was normal when you got here. Oh, who's going to be removed? No one's being removed. What are you talking about? No one's being removed here. I'm right here, dude. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you, buddy. I'm right here. How long did I let that go? 4 minutes. I was 4 minutes behind on that chat. Sorry, buddy. No, I hear you, and I want that kind of question and that kind of feedback, because that's exactly what I'm talking about being in the second veil. Like you're gonna believe that New World Order is coming for you, and that they're all part of this Illuminati blood thing, right? It's you can hear it. You can see people that are frantic and fearful, and this information come swirling into the conversation, right? With all this stuff that it sounds like a freaking InfoWars. I'm not dogging Alex Jones, but I'm just saying that it sounds like freaking InfoWars when they start talking. It's like I can almost predict the next thing out of their mouth. It gets old, and then when you try to say something about it, like, well, you must be coming from this side over here. Not possibly that could be coming from another place, right? And people become caught up in the information, and they become used, right? They become used, and if they get too far deeply into it, they become part of a product, right? Part of a product, or another part of another product, right? You can see that when people get real deep into it, that things start to happen. And then some of these ideas that I put on the board, like the culture war, it's just where it exists in reality. But some of these things straddle both sides, right? So I kind of have them on the lines because you're going to find cults on both sides of this line here, right? Disinformation all the way across. It probably should be a lot bigger. One day I'll figure out how to make this look just exactly right. Right now, it's a work in progress. Censorship, of course, man. All these things lead to another. So you either fall in, these are the holes. These are the things that you can end up as, right? Social justice warrior, right? You can be part of the feminist movement. You can be part of this gender confusion wokeness, right? You can be part of the CRT. All these things that you start to become you start to enable by believing that they're true, by believing that they're real, right? You become part of these organizations that like to use the control of language to change the meaning of words, to interfere with our understanding of people and reality itself, crafting the narrative, perception management. This is what this is all about. Yeah, I would think this would interest any conspiracy theorist out there, to see this kind of stuff, right? To understand this is what's going on in the first veil, right? But it's also going on in the second veil, right? You get into things like this, the ancient aliens and the disclosure, right? People want to, well, hold on a second now. As soon as they get done dogging this side for believing in things like they do, right? For believing in some of the stuff that they do, that as soon as you start to challenge some of their beliefs, they're going to start, well, hold on a second. Well, hold on. Now, I don't do this just to be controversial. I do it because I've been through this veil and I've seen it and I've looked at all these things individually. Um, and at a certain point, you start to realize that they're all the same, right? They all have the same outcome. And some people will tell you right away it's all about fear. And believe it or not, a lot of that the knowledge could come from people that are just kind of like looking at it on the surface, like periphery on the surface, not really understanding it, but seeing the general idea of it is, wow, there's a lot of fear behind everything you just said. All these things are very, very troubling. Politics is one thing. This guy's going to ruin the country. Well, the country can come back in another generation, can it? Right? But this is more dire. This is like changing the entire world, into this new world order, enslavement camps. It's in the white papers. Believe it. Believe what they say. Believe what they tell you. Believe it. Because see, it's not coming from the news, so now you can believe it. Do you understand? It's the same type of mind trap. It's just whether you're on the ignorant side or the stubborn side. And they put these buckets together on purpose. Like I'm stubborn too, right? So they put these buckets together on purpose so that when you're too stubborn to be ignorant anymore, you fall right into here and you get meted and greeted by a lot of people who want to be your friends and tell you how things are. Now, how many people stopped right there? So, okay, right? Now we're waiting for Drake, Kent Bailey, and QAnon to tell us what to do. Right now we're waiting to hear what the next doomsayer mission from the Crisis Actor Guild over there it has to say, or what the flat earthers are telling us about how everything's fake and believe in nothing, right? Except for the flat earth, but they won't get off their fat asses and go to the goddamn ice wall, right? They won't. I offered so many flat earthers a trip to the ice wall that none of them took me up on it. None of them. So they're full of shit, man. They're full of shit. But they know it. A lot of them at the top know it, and that's why the people they suck into it, I feel for, and I tried in the past to pull them out of it. But the truth of the matter is that this is a very hard group to pull out of anything. So you just need to show them. What they do have that the other side doesn't have is they have the ability to to shed off ignorance, right? So even if they're stubborn today and it may be a harder fight, eventually when they see the truth, they'll be like, oh, because they really are looking for the answers. These people aren't necessarily looking for the answers right here, right? They're pretty happy with the way things are, in a sense, right? They're generally disgruntled with the other side, right? The division, um, the division comes right here. Like I put it more on this side because you have the left right paradigm. There's a lot of divisive stuff on this side, but it's the new paradigm forms like right here, right? And from this division, we see a lot of destabilization in this world. So you get a lot of the with this conflict here, the society itself becomes destabilized, and the subversive process is in play. I don't know if that's the right place for these guys, the ideological subversion part of this, but I wanted to find somewhere to put it that it made sense. It probably is a little bit more it's probably a little bit more concise, right? It's probably like a little bit more like this, because you get the more destabilizing actions right along this line with BLM and Tifa cults, these online trolls, all this stuff like this. This is destabilization. It keeps us from communicating, from coming up with solutions, from getting in touch with the truth, and from staying on pace, right? And part of the thing is to keep us off center. Like we focus so much on the problems of today and worried about some kind of global government coming in when the government's already kind of operating that way. It doesn't need to be the evils and the dredge the dystopic futures of these type of ideas right here, right? Why would they need that? Two, they've always been adjusted. Has any of these things ever gone through? How long have you been waiting for these things to go through? How long? A lifetime? You're gonna wait for another lifetime. You're gonna tell your kids to wait for a lifetime. Like the idea is that these things create fear, right? And they pull people away from actually coming to solutions. And that's what we're about here. We're trying to get past the fear, past the division, past everything to see the truth. And maybe it's not 100%, but I think it's more on course with reality than what we're currently trapped in. I mean, right now, am I wrong? We're generally sitting right here or right here. And TR brings up the point that about these cabals of people with money, right? They do exist. Yeah, there is that. Now, when you say cabal, what do you mean, right? So when you say all that, what does it mean? Does it mean that they're sitting around a table drinking blood, or that they're planning on having everybody under these one things that seems like more of a pipe dream than a reality, of some kind of globalist kind of understanding of the world that they wanted to have this new world order? Do you understand how logistically impossible this scenario is? This new world order scenario. Oh, wait, we have the technology, and it's in the white papers and stuff, dude. Look, who wrote the white papers and who gave them to you? That's all I gotta say. Right? The cabal of rich people. Yeah. So yeah, we should listen to what they're telling us because they're going to tell us the truth finally after lying to us for, our entire lives. They're not going to try to use psychology on us and push us in the wrong direction. That's not going to happen, right? That's not what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why would you suddenly start trusting those guys? I don't get it. But anyways, I understand though, because when you come out of the first veil, you're looking for answers. You need something to grasp onto to understand. And that's conveniently waiting for you, along with all these great, fun new people with all these great, fun new types of ways of living, right? Because they think that they're fighting these guys and they're the good guys, right? Meanwhile, that's what they do. And that's what they do. And that's what they do, right? And this is what they're really doing. And they don't even realize it at some points, right? If you've listened to any of Monty's like recent stuff, like he's so serious about it. I listened to it last night. I was just like, I listened to a little bit of it because the where he's going with this stuff now is he's off of people and on to topics, and I'd rather listen to that than all the anger and all the negativity and the destruction, this destructive side of this stuff, because it gives me an idea of where the pulses of the conspiracy community, like when you see it, is all about them priming us for carbon credits, right? They don't need a prime us for carbon credits. They can just do it. This whole idea that they got to prime us and get us in a position for it. No, they just roll it in, slow boiling frog. That's not getting used to it. It's saying this is the way it is. What resistance do we put up to any kind of change, right? That isn't like very micro on a micro level. Like what resistance? When's the last time you've seen real resistance in this world? Oh, you're gonna talk about this? That's we all know that's a psyop. We all know that's a gimmick, right? This whole BLM Antifa stuff. If you didn't see it when it spun up in the beginning, both are spun up off of lies. Both exist because of lies. It's dishonest. It's a false belief system. So yeah, it's a gimmick. And it's a gimmick for what? Well, keeps people ignorant, keeps people in the narrative over here, and for the people over here, keeps them in fear, doesn't it? Sure does. Sure does. Yep, it keeps them in fear. So when you take a look at this board and what I'm talking about, take a look at the overlying topics that I'm talking about right here, right? This is what these are for. These are trying to help us understand what all this is about, right? By introducing these ideas, you have a system of control, right? And you affect the young. You're always going after the youngest generation. They're always thinking generationally. People like us don't think generationally. We think within the realm of our own generation, right? They think about, okay, now you're grown up, you're gone. you go fall where you're going to fall on the board, right? We understand it's a big board. Some people are going to fall here. Some people are going to fall here. Our best bet is to just hopefully control as many people as we can, or keep them inside these narratives, right? Because at the end of the day, it is um, about a system of control. But what control is it? Is it a cabal based on the Illuminati, or is it something bigger and more universal than that? See that now it's getting interesting, right? Now it's getting interesting because maybe it isn't that. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something controllable. Maybe it's something that can give us hope, right? I think that's where the road leads us. And I think that's why the veils of perception are there, right? To hide this kind of like this path to the truth. Now, I'm not saying that I got this 100% figured out or that I won't change my mind as time goes on, but I'm going to throw all the information out there, how I came to it, and let you take the ride with me. And with your intelligence and you adding to this picture, we could all form this picture together to lead us to our final goal, which is understanding solution culture, right? And understanding how to live it in such a way to impact the future, to make it a better place for everyone, the kind of future that we say that we're fighting for already, right? This is where the path's leading, but we have to understand how to get here and what we're up against in order to implement the types of changes and solutions that we need in this world. And I use my own terminology, but like I said, everybody add to this board. Give me more input, and I will add stuff to it. We'll vet it together, and we'll add to it. And I think that most of the people that I know would like to live in a world like this, right? Would like to live in a world where people are living in truth, right? With unbiased truth, fact-based media, right? With uncensored social media, right? With people being raised understanding the philosophy of liberty and what it means to own your life and what it means to take personal responsibility and accountability in your world. A world where rights are sustained, right? And they're appreciated and they're taken seriously and they're understood from a young age, right? A world where we eliminate false logic and deceptions by using our brains and and taking control of our language, right? The answer to the control of language is inside this trivium education somewhere, right? That we're a world where we have real history, where people cannot manipulate the past in order to affect the future, right? Where we're talking about the real history, like Thomas Sowell puts out about this country and how that real history would change the impact that people have when they use the words like racism and they use the words like privilege and all these other manipulations that are out there in the first veil, right? Solution culture, a world where we live where teens aren't abused, right? Where people are looking out for the truth and are respected for that and not condemned for it. This is the world we're trying to head towards. So all of this is about getting us to solution culture, but taking the journey first to understand what we're dealing with so that we can then make the right solutions and have the right motivations and do it without fear, because fear is the mind killer, right? Fear is the mind killer, and that's what they count on. They count on using these psychological operations, psychological things to keep us in these boxes. And who are they, right? Who are they? Let me talk to you guys for a second. Let me talk at you. How you doing? Beautifully inappropriate. How you doing? Hey, Divinity said, how you doing? Musa TR. All right, all right, all right. I saw you guys there. And anybody else who's new, thanks for being here. Let's see, what's behind veil number 3? Okay. Yeah, we're heading there. So veil number 3, right, is kind of a new understanding that I've had. And it was kind of a realization that I had kind of coming off of my last adventure is that, well, what is, and this is how I view veil number 3, right? Veil number 3 is something it's in front of our faces, but it's not often seen. And as a whole, right? As a whole, until you kind of get granular on it. And we've started to do this on this channel already through that adventure. And we've met some new friends along the way that are part of this other thing that's going on. And they've brought that awareness to us, right? Now it's a matter of seeing how the system works. So even some of those guys don't, though they're involved in it, can't see maybe the way that it worked up front. And then once they got involved with it, they started to see this bigger picture, right? So just being involved in it from a young age, they were could only see so much of it themselves. So it took many years of experience and events happening and interactions to kind of shake loose the veil itself to kind of pull down the bigger thing that's going on here. Now, and able to make the first two veils function, right? You have to have people to fill the spots. And in the first veil, you have people that have to be okay and down with corruption, right? That means that they are corrupted themselves, right? Through their experiences. Oh, man, okay, right click moves. Their experiences of being born and through their experiences growing up, right? Somewhere during that in that time period, they become corrupted in a sense to the point where they are okay with or part of being part of the corruption. And the way that I look at this is like there's we can say three different classes in the society, in American society at least. Maybe worldwide. I would say this probably applies worldwide because I've kind of shooken off the normal labels, right? So at the top, you have the owner class, right? The owner class are the people that own everything, have the resources, whatever. I haven't drawn this out yet, have I? I think I started to try to draw it out and I didn't finish it yet. So maybe we can draw it as we go. Let's do that. Let's find a spot. All right. Okay, so you have the we're gonna do a pyramid for all the Illuminati people. Let's do it that way. All right. So you have the people. You have the owner class, right? And then you have the what I call the infrastructure class, and then you have the criminal class at the bottom. So that's kind of the way that I looked at it. It's a new way of looking at it. I know it's not the way that most people have looked at it, but let's just say this, right? Let's say it like this. Can you attach right there? What are you doing? Crazy thing. All right, just go there. That's so stupid. Hold on. Okay, just one line, please. It's gonna make me use the dots, isn't it? All right, fine. Use the dots. All right, and something make it bigger now. Oh, it's so stupid. All right, there we go. All right, so there you go. You have that. Um, the owner class, and then you have the criminal class at the bottom. So this is kind of how I started looking at it. I don't know if I'll keep this kind of point of view on it, but I just needed somewhere to start. So I gave it like this idea, right? Stop right there. So stupid. See the line? Yeah, I'll fix this. All right. And so no matter what, right, you're born into one of these kind of like either this could be middle class, lower class, or you're born into one of these systems, right? And if you're in the upper class, you grow up kind of like, or the owner class, you grow up in this elitist kind of society. And I think that a lot of people escape that. Like, the billionaires and their families and their kids aren't walking down the street every day with us. Like, how often do you run into a billionaire who's just chilling on, down at the local bar with everybody and loving it, right? They live their own lives, separate from what we do. And their society is different. Okay, you don't want to move, so let's put you back. And so let's say that this top part is that, and then the middle part is the infrastructure. So our job really in life is to in the infrastructure class. You see, that's going to drive me crazy. Is really just to keep things running, right? Is to be born into a system, be trained to work, and keep the economy running, keep producing, keep creating, and so on. And then you have this class at the bottom. There's a lower class, and then a part of that. I like to think of it as, I'm not gonna say criminal class, like everybody that's they fall into despotism, right? This despotism role, this desperate role in life. And so I don't really think of this as lower class. I just think of it as a condition of life, right? Because it has its own kind of culture involved with it. So for the people in the middle here, like us, if we keep our noses clean, we can get through life pretty much unaffected. Yeah, there are going to be some cultural changes that come up with the kids, and that's part of the bigger cycle we're leading into right now. This third veil I'm going to talk about, but that's part of that. But for the most part, if you live your whole life in the rules, you don't get put into the criminal system, right? As a young person, you don't get put into any kind of system like that, where you're the troubled teen system, or any type of system that's going to be involved with a type of correction to you. Let's put it that way, a re-education or correction to you. And that goes for the elite, the top 1% too, the owner class too. If you could keep that way when you're young, right, and just live your life, you pretty much can go through life unaffected by things other than the bigger stuff in life. Your taxes go up, your the culture changes in an uncomfortable way. You might lose some rights along the way. There might be some typical stuff, but you're not going to get, nobody's going to be after you in that kind of way, right? If you do kind of mess up, and the world is set up to help you mess up with laws and all kinds of restrictions and all kinds of stress and all kinds of temptations that are knocking at your door, right? They're all put out there for you. Do you guys see it? You guys see it, right? You see it. All kinds of ways to get yourself in trouble in this world, all kinds of temptations to do it, from movies, television shows to music, influencing this behavior that could get you into a lot of trouble, right? And of course, there's a drug culture, there's peer pressure, there's other things, there's the kids that are already part of it, sucking other kids into it. Groomed kids, and I don't just mean it's not always the sexual grooming, right? It can be criminal grooming, right? So think of grooming as just as the way of turning someone from one thing into another, right? It didn't have to be what's going on in schools right now with the identity crisis and all that other stuff, right? It can be more than that. So criminal grooming is a thing too, gangs and so on. But as we all are born the same, right? We're all born innocent, love, and light. We're all born with the same chances in this world, in terms of who we are, right? And while our economic chances and our life in general could be have its own challenges, and they will, we all are born in the same condition, innocent and full of love and light. So that's why we can just look at each other and as we're young kids and be like, let's play, with our eyes wide open, and we're at it, man. Because like that corruption's not there. It's just pure love. So we're born with that, and then that changes over time. Right. Well, everybody's born like that, whether you're part of this class, or this class, right? Or you're involved in that. So the same pitfalls are there too. So troubled teens come from both the elites, I don't call them elites, the elitist society, the owner class, so I say the owner class of people, the really sick wealthy people, and the infrastructure class of us, right? The people that are just kind of here to help make sure the system runs, to do the grunt work, to carry the heavy load, right? And then the system allows us to have the benefits from doing that through things like money and property and so on, if you could hang on to it. But yeah, so that's we all have the same pitfalls, right? We could all run into the same problems. We could all have anybody can run into an addiction problem. Anybody can run into a criminal issue, right? Just wrong day, bad timing, bad choice, growth, part of life, right? So when this happens, right, there's systems set up to pull these people that kind of breach the system, if you will, or at least fall into these traps, these early traps. Let's go back over here to the first veil and take a look. All right. So what is that? These should not like Volstrom keeping many experts angles in his basement. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's probably the angle he's at right now. Let's see so right here, any of these things right here get you pulled into this troubled teen industry or into the criminal system. So let's expand back out. And I want to take a look over here at the third veil. And what the third veil is, the way that I'm seeing it right now, the third veil is this cycle of abuse that's going on in our society, right? And people heard me talk about this a little bit, right? But we're still going to fill this in some as we go. But I'm trying to figure out how to fit these in here the best I can, and then arrange them in such a way that it makes sense. So I want you to understand that they're always going to be able to see through the veils that right? You'll always be able to see through them. And so the idea is to keep seeing and to keep seeing till we get to the truth of the matter, right? And so as we start to expand, we're going to leave the human world and kind of get into the bigger universal reality of things that we've already kind of covered in earlier episodes, like when we talked about the dimensions and we talked about things like that, right? How we can get a perspective on these ideas, in order to grasp the true nature of our 3D reality, right? And part of those too were these universal laws that we covered early on, like understanding duality and understanding balance and things like that. the other topics that we touched on. So everything always has I'm always thinking everything has a reason that I'm talking about it. And even if it doesn't get brought back up for a while, the knowledge is there for you to have to look at these things with me, as we explore them, right? And to challenge your own ideas and belief systems, and to give them another vetting, if you will. They're strong enough; they will hold up. I promise you. But if you find some new information, I think that's a great moment, and it's always better to know the truth than to be right. But when we get to the third veil, we start to enter this new realm. This realm is trauma-based mind control, right? So in order to facilitate the roles of these first two veils that we see clearly, we can see that these things are out there. That's why I put them down there. Any debate about whether these things are out there or whether they belong in other places, please let me know. And it's important not to jump ahead, right? It's important not to jump ahead. I want to jump ahead and give you all of it, but then what can we do? What's my chances of actually getting you to come back and listen to the how it all works and how it's all put together if you've already off on that journey, right? You're going to be there soon enough, I'm sure, and you will have an opportunity to analyze all this information, think about it for yourself, and pull it into hello, pull it into one thing that's going. I have to remember to take this off so I don't play with the board while I'm talking, because I will do that. It's like doodling on a piece of paper. Um, but you'll have the opportunity now to analyze all this stuff and then put your own take on it, man. It's like I'm not telling anybody to adopt my way of doing things, but I'm going to show you how I come to these conclusions and the way I see the world, so that I can better explain what the bigger ideas are. And I think that at some point it may generate or resonate ideas within each individual. That it's only going to add to the collective knowledge. So I'm not the conspiracy grifter, right? I'm not here to tell you how it is. And then if you don't believe me, that, then you're with the enemy. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to show you the way to see, the way that I see, and to show you why I come to some of the ideas I do, and how you can see through some of the BS that's out there. Because there's a lot of people out there right now. Think about how many people got caught up in this thing right here, right? Think about how many. Now, even though we had a big old red flag 10 years beforehand, where everybody knew that this whole idea of this coup and this mass arrest and all this stuff was BS, it still was effective. Why? Why? Why was it effective? Huh? Because they could always point back to these things. And you have people out there that are doing this every day. They can point back to those things, right? And if that doesn't work for you, you got this. You got all this stuff right here. So you want UFOs? We got UFOs. Okay. You want a big production, a big life's not real moment. We got this for you. 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 We got all this stuff for you. Whatever you need, drop on in. We'll create it for you. We got it. We got you. Just live in fear. Just live in fear, and you'll be fine. That's what we want. So you understand why. Look at it from a third veil perspective. The cycle of abuse. How do you keep filling these veils up with people that are participating in it, right? Well, one, we're born into it. And some of this stuff we get through schools and universities and entertainment, and now social media and the internet and whatever's going to come next that convinces us that things are the way they are. Hollywood, man. How many times have you come across an idea, right? And you're like, whoa. And the first thing that pops in your head is some movie clip, right? Some movie clip. That's the influence. Well, it's predictive programming, and they're doing this on purpose and blah blah blah. No. It's just the way the human mind works, right? Predictive programming, yes. Has there been a little bit of that going on in Hollywood? Yes, but is it everything? No. It's just ideas are conspiracies. Did you understand that? You don't have to be sitting at a table in a dark room drinking blood with the wealthy elite in order to freaking have a conspiracy. All right. Marxism is an idea conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of an idea. Who's the king of Marxism? Who's in charge of Marxism right now? Nobody. It's an idea, and it keeps persisting because ideas are bulletproof. Where does a faith in someone's bigger than yourself fit into the veils? I know the veil wants to control religion, but I feel faith is important. It is a faith. It is important. It is important. The one faith is the most important faith you can have in the universe is the faith you have in yourself. However, that's not here to denounce any type of creationism faith, right? Any type of faith behind the creation of the world. And God dang it, it's going to do it again. Um, this is gonna be the new comedy. It's just me doing this over and over again. Oh no, stop. All right. Um, I'll fix that later. Back to your question, TR. Let me put this back on the screen because it's a good one. Appreciate your questions, by the way. Thank you for participating. It means a lot. Yeah. So when I say control religion, I'm not dogging any religion. I'm saying that the taking control of the religion, right? Like the televangelists and the cult leaders and the corrupted bigger institutions of Christianity or Judaism or whatever. Right? There's always a corrupt side to this. There's always people grifting into religion because religion is a seat of power. Right? When you are the head of your church or the head of your religion, you're an extremely powerful person. You can move the freaking ocean with that kind of power, right? So yeah, it's a sought after seat, and that's why we see all these preachers and these rabbis and these other people that are involved with religion going down in flames after a long run. You see these glitterbug, jitterbug, glitterbug preachers out there testifying with their gold rings and their gold chains and their gold teeth, and their sports cars and their sin behind doors, right? That's this control religion not only controls people that are involved in it, it also pushes people away from religion. It keeps people from wanting to become involved in it. So if you are a religious person and you care about that part of our journey, right, and it's important to you, you should be concerned with controlled religion. And I believe most people that are these days understand the difference that between the controlled religion and your own spirituality, your own connection with the Creator, and how you do that, and how you talk, how you think of the universe. So for anybody who's out there who thinks this is um, if you think this is that's an attack on religion, I'd say no. It's actually more of a defense of religion. Um, so yeah, faith-based, controlled religion, and yeah, the interfaith, man. That's the one thing. And interfaith is this. Here's the mantra: good or bad, right or wrong, whatever is happening right now is for the best. Um, is for the best later. It's for the best later, whether I can see it now or not. Right? It's interfaith. Like your mistakes aren't there to condemn you or make you live in this wallow in this pity and this tragedy of your mistake, right? It's there to teach you something, to become a better person, to rise from the ashes from it, right? And I always have much concern for people who are trapped in this deficit of inner faith, because the truth is, if you don't have inner faith, you can't believe in anything outside of yourself. You'll just lie to yourself. You don't believe yourself. You don't trust yourself. It's just your self trust in yourself, the faith in yourself. Your life is gone, and that could be a permanent condition or a temporary condition. People fall in and out of inner faith all the time. That's why it's important to remember this, and important to say this to yourself when things aren't going right in your life. Right? This phrase right here has saved me more times than I can count in my life, and and it's not anything that I ever have to stop doing. You always need to remind yourself of this, because things are going to go wrong and they're not going to seem right and not going to seem fair, and they are going to hurt and they are going to be emotional, and we're going to go through all these things together. But no matter what, if you can just look down the road, you can see that it's going to turn out all right. If you can see the bigger lesson for yourself inside of it, then things have to go right after that, because you're going to become a better person from it, right? There's no losing in this world if you allow yourself to realize that every time you don't finish first or win, there's an opportunity for self-improvement that's greater than the victory itself. I mean, that's about what it is. If you're having a hard time right now and you're scraping by emotionally or physically or financially or spiritually, whatever your condition is today, right? Have faith. Have faith in yourself. Believe in yourself. Then you can start to believe in other things. So I've told you guys before about my friend who was a great bass player, but also a very bad alcoholic and addict. Told me one time, somebody I was managing for a short period. He said, "Hey, man, and that's after like a thing of a slew of issues I had to help pull him out of, um, and actually, and in some cases didn't realize, because he said, hey, dude, it's really easy for me to lie to you, because I lie to myself." And that's probably one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard someone say, and so truthful and so real about the true conditions of ourselves, man. When we start lying to ourselves, we can lie to anybody, right? And when we stop believing in ourselves, all kinds of things fall apart around us. Things that were held together great One moment start to fall apart next, right? Your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your motivation, your intention, your your dedication. All these things start to diminish when you lose your inner faith. So, your belief in God, the creator, how you want to see the universe. I feel like my beliefs are right in line with many religions, if not all religions, if not, step with Christianity, right? In a sense that, um, it's monotheistic. It's about light versus dark. It's about good and evil. It's about things that I see day in and day out, right? And that how I figured out, about what comes after death and what was the purpose of life. These are the big questions. These are the biggest questions out there. These are the ones really driving all this that we're seeing um, in the world. People want to know those questions. You tell them the answers to those questions. If we can actually find the answers to those questions, all the other questions go away. It's like, well, if I just said, okay, let's just skip all this shit. I'm gonna tell you the meaning of life right now, right? Would that not just like kind of square out exactly what you're gonna do for the next however many years you got going on, right? What if I was to tell you the meaning of life is just to stay in the light? You know, that's what I think. That's what I think it is really. I can't tell you why, but I think that the purpose through the journey is to come in as light and to leave as light, to not be changed, transformed. Remember, it's a 3D universe. It's about creation. It's about free will, right? What game are we playing here? Well, we play a game like war. We play the war game all the time, don't we? We play a game like Pong. Sure, we play tennis. I mean, just draw the comparisons in your mind. What's the biggest game out there that you want to play? What's the biggest game you want to simulate and play? Right? Life. Everybody wants to simulate life and play that game, and everybody wants to see what it would be like to be God and control the universe. There's no doubt about it. So that's a big long thing about inner faith and faith and so on. So I hope that answered your question. I know I got off track a little bit, but keep this in mind when things aren't going great, right? Just say this to yourself. The You can speak things to the universe, and it helps a lot. Uh, I don't know why, but it's more about acknowledgement and acceptance. This is the way it is now. This is the way it is now, right? Acceptance. So speaking acceptance, and especially to the lessons that we're being our challenges in our life, seems to have a great way of fast forwarding, reducing the impact of it. So I found that if you are constantly getting hit with the same lesson over and over again, say it's like, you keep leaving your keys and making yourself late. That's one way. That's one thing. It's a very minor thing. I mean, it's a major thing. You keep making the wrong choices and friends, or you keep allowing certain behaviors to go on longer than you should in your life. And so when you do, you get hammered by issues. You get hammered by problems. You get hammered by things to show you this isn't the way to function. This is a malfunction in your system, and you're not looking at the errors. So the errors pile up. They get worse and worse and worse. Well, when you finally realize that you're being taught a lesson, if you acknowledge that lesson out loud and say, "Oh, I get it. Okay, I see. I'm supposed to understand that I need to change this behavior about myself because it leads to these things. Now I have this understanding. I accept this thing. I accept this new idea." There you go. There you go. So you speak it out. All those problems seem to go right away. They go away really fast. It's a very powerful thing. So if you're getting hammered by something, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, and when you do acknowledge it, you'll find yourself also speaking the solution, right? Ah, I see. So now I need to know. I need to do this. You'll find that the issues that keep hammering you clear up really fast. Try it out. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just the way it works for me. Hey, Darth Idiot, how you do it? How would Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. You just reminded me. I need to put this on here too. Uh, I like simulate. That should go next to flat Earth, shouldn't it? Simulation theory. Thanks. All right. Yeah, I ran into there's some people out there that have a heavy belief in this too. And I tell you what, it will align. But if you think that's all it is, maybe it will align. It will align down the road. That's probably it aligns more than this one. I'll tell you that. Um, But hey, you know what? What isn't a simulation? We're all living in our heads. Don't you know that? Everything's in your head, man. It's all in your head. So the third veil, I kind of got off track there, is the cycle of abuse. It's an underlying cycle of abuse, right? Abuse the young, break the future. Abuse the young, break the future, right? Subvert the young, change the culture, right? I guess I should probably think of a new way to put this, but I want to, I really wanted to highlight the fact that it's just live in fear. So maybe it's just like, maybe it's just theories. I don't know. I want to reword this. So I'll do this. I'm gonna do this for now. And then I'll think of a way to put it better, and I'll let you guys know. If you guys have any suggestions, please put it in the chat. But yeah, it's fun to joke around, definitely. And to imagine these things, and I do appreciate people who have who engage in things like simulation theory, because it's at least you're thinking, right? And so that's the one thing we could say about this side versus this side, is that they do a little bit more thinking. Maybe sometimes too much, but they do a little bit more thinking on this side. This side, though, has it good. Like, honestly, my friends that are living happy-go-lucky lifestyles aren't, one, they're not living in fear. They're probably having a pretty damn good time right now, right? It's the blue pill moment. It's like, do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? This is the red pill, blue pill, red pill, right? Would you go back to sleep and eat the steak? Or would you stay here and live life the way we tell you it is, right? Well, the cycle of abuse, right, that's underlying it all connects, right? So when you start to look at the things that are out there, these are forms of abuse at the psychological level, psychological abuse that happen when we allow these systems to infiltrate, this ideological subversion that's going on, where these ideas, right, these false ideas are put into young people's heads to affect them for the rest of their life, right? It could, and these days it's getting even worse, steering them down these paths of basically in these groups that kind of come out of these paths, right? I don't think of this when I say LGBTQ. I don't think of that as a gay person. I think of that as an organization that is a broken coalition of cross between lifestyles and fetishes, right? That then tries to enact social change and politics because of it. So yeah, they're not. That's not an individual to me. That's just part of this group. Kind of feeds into these other groups. I don't know where to put it yet, but I think it's right here is a pretty good spot for it. So don't take any offense to that if you're easily offended by these terms. Um, but yeah, it puts us on these tracks, right? To have these ideas about the world and other people, more importantly, other people in this world. It puts us on this track to not know ourselves, right? Even so, again, the bell curve. It's a shotgun approach. There's billions of people on this planet. You throw them all against the wall. They're because of their intelligence levels, because of their social conditions, because of their parents, because of their influences, because of anything that affects them in their own life. A car accident, a freaking, a fire, a freaking hurricane. Everything. There's so many different conditions people can live under. You have to have this broad system to where people will fall into one of these groups, right? And so the subversion is the initial cycle of abuse, right? When you come in here and you're told to that you're not good enough, you're told that you're a monster. You're told that you can be anything that you imagine at a young age, a dragon person, a dolphin person, a freaking whatever. That sex is the be all end all, right? That's the most important thing. That is a form of abuse. It's just that we've learned to accept it. It's been normalized in our society. We accept these things. Oh, it's okay. It's some people will even call it evolution. Some people will call it evolution. They'll think that this is social evolution. Oh, we're come so far. Look at us, how far we've come, right? Look, this is all about but having a better utopian society. Like, they don't see it as an abuse of an individual at a young age, or a coercion, improper coercion of a young person. That's why they always go after the youth. That's why it's always a generational grooming process, a generational war. If you think that anybody's after you right now as an adult, you're crazy. I mean, you're not crazy, but I mean, you're missing the picture in a sense. It's all about the kids. It's always been about the kids. When we were kids, it was about the kids. And what were the people doing? They were trying to come after it by doing the just say no thing and just, the putting the labels on records because they thought it was about Satanism and stuff like that. And more than just demoralization, right? So actually I need to put this right here. Let's put this right here. And I need to do this. I forgot about demoralization. I think that's probably what I meant to say, but I got division mixed in its place. Demoralization, right? The first step of ideological subversion, the demoralization takes one generation, right? And so through demoralization, we end up in these things. This demoralization is abuse. So the cycle of abuse starts in the subversion of the young, right? Through the subversion of the young, you get the resistance, you get the general rebellion of youth, right? The teen years. In comes the troubled teen industry and the prison industry, right? Well, it's eventually leading to that. But the troubled teen industry was a big eye opener. Now, you got to understand that these things have been going on for 20 to 30 years, right? This is nothing new under the sun, but for my audience and for myself, this has become a new topic thanks to the Elon survivors and the old conspiracy grifter who decided he was going to pretend like he was one of them. And that led to learning about it. So not a bad thing, but it opened this world up. Like, why would these kind of people be trying to float around this scene? Right? That's what really drew the connection here. Is like why, and it's not just him. There's much more. There's many more than just him. Right? So that led to conversations with people that are actually part of this. Part of the TTI activism, the troubled teen industry activism. It led to bigger it led to bigger conversations, right? And to diving into what they've learned from their perspective and their journeys. And this information has led me to understand that yeah, this wasn't a one-off. Like this wasn't a one-off where just one guy decided had this bright idea to do this. He learned it from watching other people. He learned it from other people that were there. And I quite understand why or what maybe his path was that led him there, but um, you can rest assured one thing: it was a grift, right? And he's not alone. And there's a lot of other people. Well, there's a lot of money in this industry. There's a lot of money in this creating this veil, right? I say that that a lot of the money in this world has been spent on manufacturing consent, right? This is the manufacturing consent zone right here. So that needs to be added to. Um, and I kind of say that in so many ways, but I gotta add the actual verbiage to that. So it actually spans both of these kind of realms. So manufactured. I know that's a Noam Chomsky book. That's where I got it from. Consent, and not that I agree with his politics, but it was a good book. It had a heavy influence on me early on in terms of just understanding that such a thing existed, right? Like outside of that, you can go to my old college textbooks and you can see where I was highlighting all the things that I was like finding that was like, well, why is this in here? Why is this shit about socialism in here? Right? You can see where I was highlighting and pointing out. I was already seeing the subversion of my books. I didn't even know what I was doing. There we go. Did I spell that right? No. All right. Spell check is a good thing and a bad thing. So manufacturing consent. Let's put that like this. Okay. Thank you. All right. So these veils are just constantly trying to manufacture your consent for their ideas, right? Believe me. No, believe us. No, believe us. This is the way it is. No, believe us. Right? This is the way. This is the way. No, I learned it in school and university. It must be true. Um, so that's the whole thing. It's a constant battle for your consent because your consent is what? What's your consent? It is your free will and action are allocated. Hey, to be fair, I will, I will, I will, I will, I will. Um, uh, oh wow, I got some breaking news. Let me see. Okay, well, again, stay tuned for the breaking news here. Let me copy this. All I see is a file name. I don't see it. Let me see if I can actually get to it. Paste and go. This is breaking news coming through. Hey, Flair, can you just send me a copy of whatever that is, because it's not working on my system. It's pointed to your hard drive. I think that's the problem. I know what your username is, by the way. uh, all right. Where was I? Okay. Oh yeah. Help me out. Where was I at? That totally just threw me off. But this is going to be very cool once I get it up. Breaking news uh, coming your way quickly. Uh, what was I talking about? I see. I have a notepad here where I'm supposed to put down a note if I stop and go in a different direction, and I didn't do it that time. Okay, let's just move because I can't remember. Can anybody help me remember what I was talking about before Blair told me I got breaking news coming in? I think I know what this is about. So you guys want to hang out for this, no doubt. I guess we can just focus on that until I get it. Yeah, just please just send me the file, the information, because um, this is copied off your hard drive, and you got something going on here. It's going to be exciting. I tell you, this is the news we've been following too. If you can put two and two together, you can probably figure out what it's going to be about. All right. Manufacturing consent is where we were. All right. And once it's easy, it's important to understand this concept because it's that's what we're going to put down, your free will allocated. So let's do this. So consent. I think I probably want this in a different place because it's not really how the human mind works. I think that's what it is. It's in a different place. Consent equals your free will. It's your free will, right? So you say yes, you say no. If you say you don't make a decision, you're still making a decision. Or if you say you make a decision for me, you're allocating that. Okay, you're allocating that consent. What do you want for dinner? I don't care. Whatever you decide, right? Well, that the person now is going to go and create a dinner for you and then put it in front of you, and that's what you will eat, right? If that's what you're supposed to eat. They're going to bring this dinner to you because you've allowed them to choose for you what you're going to eat, right? Your free will was still actually executed. It was just executed through another person. That's what a vote is, right? When you consent to someone to lead you to make these big decisions in the world on your behalf, right? You're consenting, you're putting your energy into that person. That's why politicians and corporations are so powerful, right? Because they have millions of people putting consent into them. That's why when we see a conspiracy grifter that comes online and gets, there's 600 people to show up every night to listen to bullshit, right? And rage and all kinds of things like that aren't good for us. That's concerning because that is consent. That is enablement, right? Enablement, same thing. So it's like the free will enables whatever you put into it. And if it's a good outcome, then you have a benefit. If it's a bad outcome, you have a consequence. And usually you have a little bit of both anyways. Someone will tell you that no good deed goes unpunished, right? And they'll live by that. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter. You can put that in perspective, right? That sometimes that maybe you're not really doing a good deed. Maybe that good deed isn't really what's necessary. It should be more communication, and that's not action, right? Maybe your consent doesn't need to be behind it, but in support of it. So it just depends, right? You have to take these things step by step. The important thing is to remember that your consent is yours because it's your free will. You own it. That's your gift. That's your power in this world. That's your power to create in this world, right? And if you don't realize that and you just fling your consent all around the place, you're generally helping out people like this and people like this, and then the bigger system that's going on. So covering that, I'm glad we got this board because I can jump back to things and then get back to where we were on, get back on track a lot easier this way. I'm probably going to move that around though. It's just an understanding that we have to have in order to understand how the world works, right? So the cycle of abuse, again, the third veil, right? This continuously pumps in new participants, right? The cycle of abuse is the abuse, and then the abused become the abusers, or they become the resistance to abuse, right? So you go into politics and you join the system. Okay, we're all doing it. You take the money from these guys, you tell them what they want. You do this. You play the game, right? These guys are gonna back you up. These guys are gonna back you up. That's we should have some kind of big corporations in there somewhere. But right, you play the game, and then now you're part of it, and you end up being a corrupt part of the system. Um, or you come over here. Okay, so you went through your media studies grad, your radio TV at grad. All right, this is the way the system works. It's just a job. You got to do it. You go out there, you read this. We tell you what to say. You say it, right? And you become part of this system of subversion. You become part of this system of manufacturing consent from the ignorant. See how that works? You see how that works? God damn that guy. It's catchy phrases. Okay. This is the way it connects, right? Boom. So you can see why all these points are important to have on the board. Let me take a look over here and see what you said. Okay. Did you resend it, Flair? Okay. Yes, I can't see it. You sent me a file from your, like, it says file. Let me post it. It says file : / / C : / user something / desktop / download / the file name, right? That's on your hard drive. I can't access your hard drive. So you have to send me the actual file. Is this the one you sent me the other day? I was going to be for Saturday night. I was going to do that Saturday night, but if it's breaking news, I'll break right now. Is this it right here? The complaint? This is 34-CV- let me see what this says. 34-CV-23-12. It's the same thing. Is it the same thing you sent me the other day? This is different. Let me see. Okay, hold on. I was just reading something, folks. Don't leave me. Flair, is this the same thing you sent me the other day? Okay, I'll wait for your response, all right? Because I'm not gonna just pull up I'm not just gonna pull up this file from the other day and say this is what you want me to talk about now. But I will pull up anything new if you can get it to me, all right? All right, let me continue with what we're talking about right here. So the underlying cycle of abuse is what fuels these two veils, right? So basically, kind of, it's a self-perpetuating system that that continually fills the seats of the people of the continually fills the seats. Let me see, is this better to do it like this? Yeah. Fills these seats up, right? So people to take this place of people that will be making this work and making this work and doing the evil here and doing the evil here and doing the evil here. It doesn't have to be everybody. Some people can just be in this for the creativity or because they're a good actor or because they like imagination. They have a good imagination. They want to tell stories through pictures and words and music, right? But it only takes a few of the abused in any situation to kind of corrupt it, right? So the corruption comes from the abuse. You see how this corrupt system works. Now, if you understand that you can corrupt and disrupt a society and a system through these means, right? And you have the power, then you're looking at the fourth veil, and this is what the mistake a lot of people have made going into the second veil, right? Is they see it as just, okay, it's this or that, right? It's the Illuminati New World Order. It's the drug. It's all this stuff, right? So now let's all stop thinking and just say this is what it is. Let's point to it, and now we'll wait for everybody to catch up and do something about it. Meanwhile, these guys are 2-3 generations ahead of you, right? Because they understand the true nature of how the mind works, right? How people make decisions, how people hold on to beliefs, right? And how to manipulate that right here. You see? So everything I've been trying to show you guys all along the way here has been because it leads to this. So I had to understand this myself. And a lot of times I did it out of order. I was like, over here, over there, over here, over there. And then I had these moments where all the dots would connect, right? I'm just laying it out in a more linear fashion as best as I can with my crazy head, right? But These guys know this. This is the occulted knowledge, right? This is the knowledge that's hidden from us that they don't teach us, that they don't want us to know. Because if we knew this, we could actually do something about it, right? We wouldn't be listening to these guys. We sure as hell wouldn't be listening to these guys. We'd be seeing through all this to where it's actually coming from and why, right? And the cycle of abuse is what enables these two veils, right? And you can see it, and the worse, the longer it carries on, the worse it gets, right? So now we're to the point where we're openly causing this to children in schools, right? We're openly admitting it. You know, Devin, whatever. What's the guy's name? Devin, the poor little kid who got corrupted way too young and now is completely ruined for life. The amazing, whatever his name is, the amazing disaster. That right out in the open, nobody cares, right? We just now today. Did you guys hear about the news today? The Navy is going woke. Did you guys hear about the Navy going woke? Yeah, you guys. Their new spokesperson has been announced, and they evidently don't watch the Bud Light commercials because the Navy just made its reputation worse. And believe me, they're brave men and women fighting in the Navy. I grew up in Virginia Beach. I know all about them, but yeah, they have a reputation, and it just got worse. Yeah, so that's happening, right? And when people wonder why this suddenly is upon us, it's been working generation by generation because they're generations ahead of us to get us to this point where they're completely breaking now down the military structure. Now that you can take that and say, well, that's just that's part of the New World Order plan. It's not. You don't know. It's a guess, right? That there's some kind of plan to need to do this. Wouldn't it work better to control everybody if you have these lines of divisions called countries? Don't you think that works better into this narrative and the way that things are set up? Right? Division is imperative. It's imperative to destabilization. It's imperative to demoralization. It's imperative to destroying the structures that like hold up a good society, a harmonious society. Division is immensely important, right? War is part of that cycle of abuse too, right? Sending people off to die in the most disturbing ways, right? These are all funders of these illusions. You got these Peter rings that come out of this stuff, like grooming kids, right? Abuse that's going on, the grooming that's going on in schools is abuse. The cycle of abuse continues. It takes it into generational cultural change, right? Meanwhile, the other half of us that don't participate are just living in fear over here, not knowing what to do, no answers. Just it's just another Illuminati blood ritual and a New World Order plan, right? And just let's all get hysterical, people. Let's all get hysterical, people. I mean, the non-action of this lifestyle is overwhelming to me at this point. I'm like the guy who left the cave, right? I'm the guy who left the cave, and so it becomes that for me. It's like, well, it's hard for me to look at the shadows anymore. And I'm only trying to find the light and how to shine that light out for other people to see the way the system is truly designed to work. Now, generationally, remember, it's a generational grooming, generational structure, right? The cycle of abuse replenishes itself through things like the troubled teen industry and the prison industry, right? Where people are born into this world in different states. I'll make this look prettier, but right, different elevations, owner class to infrastructure class, and then born into criminality or despotism, right? And then they end up in these systems as a result. So the Paris Hiltons, in fact, I just watched the Paris Hilton documentary the other day. People are like, oh, Paris Hilton, yeah, she's so rich. Blah, blah, blah. Even some people in the troubled industry have some problems with her, right? Because of her upbringing, and they were born on the poorer side of things, or they were born dirt poor, or they were middle class and got caught up in some kind of thing as a teen, right? They so hold on, I'm looking back. Oh yeah, cluster B. There you go. Tweety, we're on the same page, man. We're on the same page. How about that? Exactly. Yes. Tweety. We need to hang out more. Here I was thinking you were just a troll the whole time. No, man, that you're dead on, and I hope everybody sees what she's talking about. Hey, Trinity Goddess, how you doing? The Navy is always a punchline. Squid. Yeah, I think some people could just see the trauma in others and take advantage of it unknowingly. Exactly. Yes, Trinity Goddess. Yes. Um, they do, and it is that cluster B, like right there. Boom. Tweety's hitting it too, right there. That cycle of abuse. They do innately see, the cluster Bs do innately see empathy in others, and they it's like a nectar to them. They just want to suck it all out of you and leave you dry and like them and pull you down. The crabs in the bucket, the vampires in the dark. Right. That's all. That's what I'm talking about here. So you guys see it too. That's good. And see, I'm saying there is life beyond the second veil, guys. There is life. There's understanding, and you still get your Illuminati. You still get all these guys right here. They're still there, right? But you're not living in the fear of what it is, and you're realizing that they're funding a system, right? And the system facilitates their power. It facilitates keeping them on top, right? They don't need to have this or this. I got to move NWO because I keep clicking on it and in the wrong spot. They don't need to have this or this, right? They're going to say this, and this means economically, by the way, if you look it up. If you really go into the details about what the New World Order is, it's not a globalist system of authoritarianism. That's the Alex Jones definition of it. I'm not dogging Alex again, but I'm saying that that's the definition we have grown accustomed to, and what it means now. The archetype of the New World Order, right? It's been changed. Most of us never even knew what it was. But then when we saw one president after the other saying it in video clips and someone telling us what it means, then suddenly, boom, it's locked in, right? So we need to work on this to make sure that we always are living in truth, right? So we have to go back and revet these words sometimes. Illuminati comes from an ancient kind of thing. The word's been around. It means to be the enlightened. People will put this into Freemasonry and other things like that. They'll say that they have the proof. They'll ask you to take it on faith. And they're usually these guys right here, or they're just being misled by the information and they become these guys, right? Spreading it, spreading it, spreading it. I actually went back to my old former group after I came to this realization about this stuff. And I told I had a meeting with the guy who founded it way back when. He's off having a great life with his family. They look beautiful. Like they're having a great time, enjoying life. I'm very happy for him. He's out of the game, but some of the stuff still existed out there. So I went back and had to talk to him about all this stuff, because this is the stuff that we were after, the debunking, but trying to prove true. But we didn't see any of this other stuff going on. Most people miss the third veil to look at the fourth veil, right? But without understanding the third veil and what's going on, this underlying cycle of abuse that keeps filling these roles and keeping this cycle alive of generational grooming, generational subversion, right? To keep us divided and controlled. They don't see this underlying system that's happening. They can see the parts of it, right? They can hear about the parts of it, but they don't realize that it's an entire. And when I say MK Ultra Legacy, we'll get into that, so don't get freaked out by that word. But it is part of this, by the way, and it kind of comes through right here for the most part, and right here. So just to kind of let you guys know, that's cults and the New Age hippie culture and the drug culture. So all that is related to the MK Ultra Legacy. But it is a system of mind control. It's not a active system in a sense that the way it was initially designed from the military uses, right? Military uses, you see it's all right here in this little bubble of information. But the social experiments that went on with this were vast. It was a shotgun approach. It produced this. It produced a lot of this, a lot more of this, right? And it produced a lot of this. Put that a little bit higher. And of course, it produced plenty of this. Plenty of this. Some of this, it all worked. It all worked out. We're the idea of the MK Ultra. We'll do a whole thing on this, right? The idea that the legacy of it is still embedded in a lot of this informational based and trauma based mind control systems. Right? So just keep that in mind as we go. But a lot of people miss this part, right? Because we don't think about it. If we're not part of the troubled teen industry, if you didn't get in trouble as a kid and you didn't end up at Elon or CDU or any of these other like really bad places, or you weren't involved in any of the systems early on, you will inevitably not see this until it's in front of your face. Prison industry as well. We all know the private prison industry is bringing people in and institutionalizing them for profit, right? There's the quotas. all the nastiness that goes on in these prison systems. There's more drugs and crime in prison a lot of times than on the streets that people come from. Um, then you have like, okay, well, what leads people into that? Well, I can tell you right now, a lot of it's been the music industry in Hollywood that have led this into people, and then of course public education, things like CRT and wokeness, and you get into these other groups like that, right? That start this controversy, this division between us that it keeps us in this destabilized state, right? So a lot of people end up in the prison industry because of this. And what happens is you become institutionalized. You can't fit into society anymore. So you have this life of crime, and this crime affects other people. It victimizes other people. So a cycle of abuse needs enablement, it needs victims, and it needs abusers, right? Enablement, victims, abusers. That's the cycle of abuse. It keeps rolling on generationally by generation. So as these abused people like leave their childhood and become adults and go into the world, you start filling these roles. Maybe it's in public school. Maybe they're they've gone through university and they're brilliant now, right? And they come out all woke and stuff, and they take it right back into public schools and teach it again. Abuse, abused, abuser, enablement, abuse, abused, abuser, enablement, right? It just keeps going back and forth. So these roles are always filled up. Even these guys right here are part of it in some way. These are obviously abusers. These are obviously people with narcissistic problems, and a lot of scale. Some of them are just misled. Some of them just don't have answers and of just falling into the wrong spot. There can be innocent people that are out there grifting conspiracies right now that just haven't got the information or the awareness yet to know to pull back. And the sign of the good person in them will be when they get the information, they hear it, it will resonate with them, and they will pull away from it themselves. So, like Jan Irvin, right? Jan Irvin realized he was mixed up with a bad crew, that they weren't in it for the good reasons, even though he was, and he got himself out of there, and he had to pay the price to do it. He went through a lot of hell to get the hell away from those people, but he did. Right? That's a sign of a good person in it for the right intentions. And this is a cycle of abuse. How long have we been going here? Oh, 2 hours and 30 minutes. It seems like no time at all. How long should these shows be? Thank you for letting me keep your comment up all this time, Tweety. I feel like I should be nope, not a troll. Journalism and psychology. Well, dude, we need to do more stuff together. Then we need to talk more. Generational PTSD. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. That is part of it right there. You nailed that. To better understand intermittent reinforcement, Las Vegas uses it to hook gamblers. Hot, cold, lose, win, seemingly random intervals. Yes, exactly. Exactly, dude. That's what we're seeing here. That's what it is. That's what I'm kind of, what I'm trying to bring this out for in a way is I need to wake these people up a little bit more, right? I need to get there and say, look, man, we got to stop enabling this stuff. We got to stop enabling these people, right? We got to stop letting this be for these people's perception of us, because we're trapped in here with these guys whether they see it or not. There's a way. There's another way beyond this. That's solution culture. That's what I think solution culture is about. It's about the new way. Like we're leaving this veil. We're leaving these veils behind us, and we're not going to think in this cycle of abuse, right? We're gonna point out the cycles of abuse and who is involved in the enablement, and we're gonna remove that enablement, hopefully, generationally speaking, right? Again, I'm very realistic about what we are capable of doing at our age and this time. But also, see how I'm going to drive people crazy clicking this thing? I love it too much. Is that we have to start thinking the right way, and that's generationally. So you're going to find that a lot of this needs to be taken back to what we're teaching our kids and the systems that we're setting up for the children. Because right now the systems are corrupted and overrun with this, and it's enabling this every single day. Every single day. The cycle of abuse is continually enabled because of this barricade and this barricade. And this is why we have to pull these veils down to understand how to see through them. And yes, you'll get your fingers to point, but even these people on a lot of levels are not in control of themselves. Right? I'll go into this much of this later. I think a lot of this people kind of get already, but why it's here and what its function is, I think is more of the mystery to be unveiled, right? And so I want to spend more time talking about this stuff right now that's right in front of us, and then kind of we'll move into this realm and then talk about what's driving that. What's what the fifth veil is driving that. I don't want to give too much away. Shit, it's first night. Uh, that's what I always try to do, man. Just try to give the whole thing away, and then I confuse people, and they run off and forget half of it. So, a lot of people say, oh, a lot of reiteration. Yeah, you need to have a lot of reiteration if you want to remember something. By the way, people who if you don't think that you need reiteration to help expand on points, I got news for you. Have the stuff that you cover, people forget as soon as they leave. So okay, grift on. The so let's kind of like wrap this up in a little bit of a way here. Let me as I fish around for our exit song. I'm gonna go back to the chat here, and we have some news coming in. I'm gonna check my Discord again, Flair. Is it there? It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. Let's cover it on your stream or start another. It's too big or hot to ignore. Okay, Flair, I'm gonna explain this one more time. I don't have the file. You did not send me the PDF file. You sent me a link to your own personal hard drive, which I do not have access to, unless you want me to hack your system and get access to it. I'm not gonna do that. I click on this link, it's nothing. So if you're there, Flair, send me the actual file, and I will cover it right now. I know it's important. PDF. Give me the actual PDF. Do it quickly because I don't want to lose everybody, and I want to do this. Ooh, nice. Thank you, T3. I know you're out there somewhere. Thank you, darling. And everybody say hi, man. It's just like I put on this week's this week. I put a schedule every Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully, if somebody saw that and that's the reason why they're here, say hi and let me know. I'd like to know if that's been effective. 100%, right, Gummies? What'd you say? Where'd you at? Abuse from the government is a tragic event. Add fear, promise of protection, voluntary loss of rights. Yeah, manufacturing consent. Yes, sir. We throw our yes, indeed. We throw our rights away out of fear. It's disgusting. Absolutely, we do. We do. And we also throw our minds away out of fear too. So for every MK Ultra we know about, there has got to have been so many other experiments. Agreed. The and that's the thing too. It's like I was a little bit resistant to the whole idea of the MK Ultra overload, but when we go into that topic, I might bring some experts on for that, to people that have really delved into it, if they'll actually come on the stream, that to go further with that. But I see it as there's a lot of different kinds of experiments happening, but that was the big thing about mind control, mass mind control, right? I know the idea of NK Ultra with me immediately takes me back to the idea of the universal soldier or the Manchurian soldier or candidate or whatever, right? Where you can brainwash someone into going and becoming an assassin by overdosing them with LSD and putting these horrific images in their mind and giving them keywords to trigger off of. It's the old James Bond Hollywood stuff, right? So it's all that. It's all this coming back into my head again. So when I recognize that I see a Hollywood clip in place of information, I generally flag that for review, right? I'm saying, okay, I gotta go back and take another look at that. When I first came into this YouTube realm, as Winning Reality this time, after years of just being away from any of this stuff, lately, I ran into a person that was studying the MK Ultra mind control and stuff very, very drilled down. She was going down the track of mass shooters, coming from this thing. And I was like, well, I don't quite get it, what she's getting at. It sounds like the same old stuff. The government's not kidnapping people and dosing them and making them watch stuff in there and turning them into monsters anymore. That experiment phase was gone a long time ago, right? The results of the early experiments with the military led to the bigger social experiments with LSD and the drugs and culture molding, right? If you will, culture crafting. So taking a look at this, there's been light forms of it throughout our whole life. This is becoming a really refined process. Like I'd like to take this same model and punch it against a century back, right? And see what was missing from here or what would replace things on this. How long has this system kind of been in place, or is this fairly new? So that's something that we could do together as an experiment, kind of once we kind of have a grasp on maybe the first 3 or 4, take it and just drop back 100 years and see if we can reapply it. Like that would be a fun little like experiment to do. I'd like to do that with a group of people that are interested in and just really just finding the answers that are out there. And we'll definitely touch more about the cycle of abuse. I'm going to have some people on to talk about this. I'll probably have Mark Babbitt's come back on. And if I could get this other guy to come on, I'll try, but he might be a little too far down the road to come on publicly. He's pretty well known by a lot of these guys and not real liked because he tends to talk a lot of truth about that. And they don't like that. For some reason, they're very much involved with this troubled teen industry. And what my theory is right now about this is that they're looking for the broken people that came out of this industry or as they're going into it to become part of this realm right here, right? To become part of their grift, their cult, their useful idiot squad, to put them on these missions to wake people up that are really just putting them back to sleep, right? So I think it's part of that. I still haven't got the answers on that. It's still an ongoing investigation in my mind. So we'll see. But we're going to have Mark Babbitt back to fill in all the gaps that could tell us about so much about this stuff that we don't know. This is a new realm for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you. If there's anybody out there that's been part of the troubled teen industry, has been to these abusive schools and have experienced this, I want you to know that you have a very you're around a community of people right here, a scene of people that are very understanding to what you've been through and are very open to meeting you and to learning about what you had to say, and you're very much included in what we're doing, and I want you to know you'll find nothing but respect and for having made it through that cycle of abuse, and your input will be very valuable to this journey. So if you're out there, please just feel free to speak up. This is a completely, I hate to use the word safe space, but it's a place that you can feel comfortable being yourself. All right, so Flair, I'm checking back again for the file. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. So which one do I want to read first? There's 2. The one I just sent you was filed first with the court. All right, so I'm getting ready to share some screens here. Guys, get ready for the big drum roll. It's gonna be exciting. That one. Save it. Save both of them. Let's use those. All right. Okay. All right. I want to open them. One more time. Sorry about this, folks, but stay tuned. This is going to be good. Okay, so YouTube files. Got ya. All right, so which one am I doing first, Flair? I'm going to send you a link. It's up to you. This is about the Ricada Quest trial, by the way, people. Ricada Quest trial coming up. Clippers, get your clips ready. You're going to hear it here first. Can't find this anywhere else. Make sure that I'm not giving away any information. All right. And let's close that. And same thing. Okay, that's different. All right. I have 2 things in front of me. Miss Flair. I have 2 things in front. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. This will be coming back. I know we didn't get to all of it tonight, and that's kind of part of the plan. But we will get through all these things and how they connect, and then we'll bring people on to be part of the analysis of this format here. And we'll be building more things to go along with this, and we'll finally get to what is driving some of these ideas, these bigger ideas in the world, and we'll chew on that for a while as well. So there's a lot more to go here. A lot of tonight was just catching up and trying to understand what we're doing. And I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll come back and be part of this journey, because it takes all of us to be part of it, even if you're skeptical, even if you got some problems with the way I do it, or you got problems with me, whatever. I don't care. Just be part of it, and let's work together and see what we can shake out of it. Because my mind's open. I hope yours is too. And if someone brings something to me that's enlightening and and can shed more light on it than I'm doing, you can believe I'm gonna consider it, and I'm definitely gonna put it into use if I find it to be what it is. So this is an open board here. So, anyways, let's go into this. Flare, where are you? Where are you? I'm gonna start reading it if I don't have any guidance here. So I don't know if I'm reading it out of order or what, but I need quick responses right now because I'm kind of short on time. All right, let me just stop sharing this. Maybe I'll just go by date. May 2nd, April 25th. Okay, I'm gonna go by date. Let's just do it this way. So, what am I reading here? Okay, this is something that hasn't been seen before. No one has access to this, and it has to do with the Ricada Quest trial in Minnesota. The we all know what it's about. It's about the can I actually use full screen? I know I'm not showing it right now. I'm just trying to get it straight on my end. Whoop. Okay, yeah, there we go. And if I do this, what happens? All right. I'll do it one by one. Okay. So get your clips ready. Let's see. Am I not seeing this window? I'll just do it like this. I'll do it like this for now. All right. Are you guys ready? Are you trying to call? I can't call right now. I'm streaming. I can't do it. I don't know how to do that. You have to take you want the link to come on and to read through what this is, Flair. Are you filling up for it? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna throw you the link. If I see you pop in, you can pop in. All right. If not, I'm just gonna read it myself. If you think I'm doing fine, that's cool. Copy. All right. Coming up. Coming at you. Sorry for the delay, folks. I'm just trying to get this straight. She was nice enough to provide me with the information on this, knowing that we have an interest here going on. I think there's one more person that might be interested in this, but no telling what she's up to. Let's see, where are you at, girl? All right. Sorry about the delay here. Just one more second. Yeah, almost ready. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so I think Flair's on the way. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and share this now. Though I want to get this up so that I keep our interest here. I got a little bit, I guess I should just chill out because people are probably used in this crowd probably used to just watching people sit out on sit in their rooms quiet, like 50 people sitting in the room quiet. So I should relax a little bit more. I'm always about like thinking I need to be entertained or be entertaining. Flare, you cannot connect because your microphone or cam is not ready yet. So try to. Okay, there you are. All right. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Cool. Hey, I got a little bit of an echo coming through. I think it's better now. Okay, cool. All right.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'll modify my end. I'm sorry, sir.
No worries. No worries. And, yeah. Don't have to call me sir.
Private school.
That's okay. I do the same thing.
Right.
All right. So let's put this up here and let's put ourselves up here.
What's up, buddy?
Can you guys see that all right? I guess you can scroll in on your end, right? I look at it from StreamYards. I'm like, that sounds so tiny.
I know. I'm getting it to you. I found this on so it was filed with the court on, I believe if you look in the right-hand corner, it says, I believe the 26th, while it is dated for the 25th. If you look on the right-hand corner, that shows when it was actually filed with the court. I believe it was like 7:30 something, up top or right, or upper top. Yeah. Boom and boom. Go up a little bit more. Yeah. See that little, yeah. So that indicates when it was actually filed with the court. So I believe it was like 7:30 around Friday evening. So, but this is the letter. So Ron Dawes, if you recall, if anybody know, okay, so the short version, right, is that Mark Randazza, the Nick Rekieta's attorney, was arguing with Steve Quest, aka Monograph's attorney, Dave Schneider, regarding basically a motion to dismiss. During that motion hearing, Dave Schneider alleged that Nick Rekieta stated he was going to rape both. I know. Well, you were demonetized a long time ago, so what am I worried about?
It's such a stupid
But
thing too, man. It's like, how are you going to discuss the topic if you can't say the
I
fucking
know
word, man?
it's absurd, but God, I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. So, anyhow, during that hearing, Dave Schneider did say it, and you were there. It was pretty obscene. It just the fact that the guy was trying to BS it that hard. So, anyhow, this letter is in response to that. Is where I'm going with that. Is basically that Dave Schneider misrepresented to the court. He knew that he was misrepresenting to the court, and as an officer of the court, it is unethical and it violates the oath that he took. So that's kind of the
Like, can you imagine just like being the judge and having to listen to, oh, Flair, you disappeared again. She'll be back. Can you imagine like being in a court and like having to like imagine? Can you imagine if this guy actually believed like Nick Rekieta was gonna find them and rape them? Can you believe that? Like, oh my god, I'm like looking out my window for Nick Rekieta right now. Like he's gonna knock me over the head when I walk outside. I mean, you guys know, like if you heard that out in real life, like at a bar or something like that, and this guy's like, "Oh, you did, dude? He said he was gonna rape me." You joked the hell out of that guy. You took him right out of the bar. It was just like, it's so childish, right? It's so childish. So, I think once she gets her device straight, I'll just keep reading it. I'll just read it what it says. It says, so the April 10th, 2023 hearing was argument on defendant's anti-SLAPP motion seeking judgment on plaintiff's defamation and emotional distress claims. The only issue of the claim, of all of which arose from Mr. Rekieta's statements made prior to the filing of the amendment complaint. Although the defendant's counsel, there she is. There you go.
Yeah.
Although defendant's counsel sought an opportunity to respond in rebuttal, the court declined to entertain rebuttal. Thus, defendants had no opportunity to counter or correct the immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous remarks. Okay, so you want to take it from here, Flair?
Sure.
Yeah.
So basically, what happened during the hearing was that at the very end, Dave Schneider, the attorney for Steve Quest, aka Monograph, stated that Rekieta had said he was going to threaten. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work on this feedback. I do apologize. Anyhow, he said he was going to. Randazza wanted to respond. The judge effectively said, "No, you're allowed, but I'm not going to do it right now." She was sick of this before it even came to her court. I mean, that's really my perception. So I'm just giving you kind of the climate, and that's why Randazza wrote this letter, is because he felt like he wasn't going to be heard if he didn't write it. So he had to make him. He had to say it before.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Do you have two tabs?
I don't know. This is what's happening. It's coming out on my computer. So I'm working on getting my headset so I can be really dumb that way. So that's why I keep actually closing out the sound there.
Okay,
So
do you want to take a second and get that straight? Yeah.
I'll be two shakes. Just rock with me for a second. I'm
Gotcha. I'll put you on mute until just let me know. Like,
super hard.
okay. All right. So yeah. So there's two parts to this, guys. By the way, so don't split out because this is just a setup for what's coming next. So we have the actual conclusion to this, I believe. Let me see what it is. Yeah. Like I said, this is going to be breaking. And no one's seen this stuff yet. Like this whole rebuttal part. This wasn't in court. So if you were at the hearing, which I think everybody was, it's like we always got on a bus and went there. You didn't get this part. You didn't get to see this part. You only got to see the part where they came out there and made the big show about it, and this grown man tried to make us believe that he was living in fear of Nick Rekieta sexually assaulting him. It's horrible, horribleness. Because that's what Nick does when he gets mad with people. He's going to go out there and do that, and that's going to make everything right. This is the more honesty of this world, man. The things that they're willing to put out. It just seems like I can't. I just think high school. Like the only thing I can think of when this happens is high school. Okay, you back, Flair? You back? All right. Not yet. So almost there. So I'll give it another couple minutes, another few seconds to get that straight. It just reminds me of high school. It just is like it's like nanny boo boo. That's all I can hear. It's like we're still playing this game. We're grown ass people, man. We're grown ass adults. And we're still playing this nanny boo boo game. You got to be kidding me. And so they, that game gets meat by a fist eventually. So then they say, well, you can't, fighting's bad. The fighting took care of the nanny boo boo shit. So I don't think it's all that bad. But anyway, so now we got adults doing it because they're allowed to get away with it and they never grow up. Hey, go. Claire, are you there?
I am. Hold on. I'm doing it right now.
All right.
Oh, this bitch. There we go. I hate all my ineptitude. That's cool, though.
Got it? Are you in there?
I did. Oh, my God. Care for the win. All right. So what's up? Oh,
All
this
right,
is
move on through this document.
Okay, so no, I got you. Okay, so we're at defendants right wrote to Schneider, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's some primo stuff up. That's all I gotta say. All right.
Okay.
I know. I'm getting it up.
That's what she said.
No, I know. It's just so offensive. This entire thing. All right, here we go. So
we just have some advice for you.
Stop while I'm ahead. All right, so ready? The defendants wrote to Schneider on April 14th requesting he substantiate his allegation. A copy is attached as Exhibit B. And notably, defendants also indicated that they expected Schneider to correct the record if he could not substantiate his allegation, quote unquote, before the court relies upon or is prejudiced by such misrepresentations. On April 17th, Schneider transmitted a video of a portion of Mr. Rekieta's April 1st, 2023 broadcast in which he claimed, quote unquote, rape threat occurred. A copy is attached as Exhibit C. Emphasized there was no such threat. On April 19th, we again wrote to Schneider laying out our concerns and requesting that he correct the record. A copy is attached as Exhibit D. Rather than taking corrective action, Schneider lackadaisically responded, "Relax, counselor. I already provided the court with a copy of your client's vulgar and rude video. I also sent it to the lawyer's board. It speaks for itself. A copy is filed herewith as Exhibit E. The video is over 10 minutes. Okay, so that's that.
Okay, so where are we going to take this?
Is still treaty?
No,
I'm sorry. I did not know that.
No, hold on. You saw fine on my end. What's going on out there in viewer world?
Tweet is indicating that
checked her.
There's not good.
Definitely two mics on. Oh wow, this is still going on. Okay.
Okay. Well. Okay.
I don't hear.
Why don't you give me your machine? One sec.
Okay. All right. Well, while she's getting that straight, let's kind of take over here. I'll finish reading it, and then we can talk about what the context is. So the video may speak for itself. Mr. Schneider would speak for himself, and when doing so, do so truthfully. There is nothing that any responsible person would characterize as a threat of rape. This was thoroughly explained in our April 19th, 2023 letter. See Exhibit
I don't know.
Snyder.
That was weird. I apologize.
You back? Okay. How's it guys? How's it sound now? Double? Keep a. It's not me, is it?
I don't know.
No, it can't be. Let me make sure this is off.
I don't know. Again. I'm gonna mute. Keep reading.
Okay.
Your machine's
No.
All right, here we go. I'll meet you out. All right, so there's nothing that any reasonable person would characterize. Yes. Though it was explained, okay, yes, indeed. Instead of abiding his ethical duties, he is letting this misrepresentation potentially prejudice the court as it considers the pending anti-SLAPP motion. The court has the inherent authority to take any and all necessary actions. The Minnesota Supreme Court in Hughes versus Hughes, I know two Hugheses. It utilizes this inherent authority against a litigant before it. 204 Minnesota, 592, 594, 1939, noting the aspirations upon the trial court contains in the appellate brief and made in his oral arguments are wholly unwarranted and are scandalous in their nature. Also see in court of the courts comp for Lion City versus Lion City. There's a bunch of liars in that city. Okay, I'm putting you unmuted again. You guys, is it sound better?
Come on.
Announcing that the fundamental judicial function of deciding cases and is available to courts on all levels to be used consistently with respect to jurisdictions and functions. The inherent authority, I'm not going to read all that jargon there. The inherent authority of the court was recently affirmed in Anderson versus Anderson. Okay. I don't understand why that's important, but I read it anyways. Okay, here we go. Any thoughts? You're on camera.
I'm just back. What? I didn't do it. All I know. Oh, Anderson. Okay. So I was looking up this case because I was trying to figure out what its significance was. Anderson v. Anderson. That's right. That's actually in. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself. The fact that I made a binder based upon all this is pretty awesome. I don't remember that case law. I'd have to read it. So no, I have no comment. I'd be a liar if I said otherwise. What's up?
Okay, so what's this setting up? I think we kind of get the idea what's going on here, right? I don't want to kind of dwell on this corporate law read.
Okay, go for it.
No, I said, what is this leading to? What are we leading into?
So effectively what this is doing is because during the April 10th hearing, Mark Randazzo was not able to argue or to rebut that this is effectively is working as his rebuttal, because you can file correspondence with the court and effectively it serves as being a part of the record. And therefore it, if there's any appeal or anything later on, you have it, it's been there. And also you put it in front of the judge. So the judge can't ignore it, theoretically. So that's the big part of why this is important. And furthermore, it's what he's doing is he is rebutting things that Dave Schneider said during the hearing, which included some fairly just to add to substantiate. Dave Schneider went to an extreme, and rather than identifying and I'm not saying they're right, but that there were hyperbolic statements, he tried to infer to the court. He tried to make the court believe that certain statements were literal by stating to the court that this individual wanted to harm him and his client in a sexually violent and non-consensual way. That's what the issue is with all of this. So that's what effectively Randazzo was saying is going, look, that's not what the point was. That's not what was being said. It was misrepresented to you. And furthermore, when I attempted to reach out to opposing counsel and have them contact you and go, hey, that's not like, I know that's a duty. And as an officer of the court, you have to represent things accurately if you know so. Not to say that.
So we got this right here.
Honest.
We got this right here filed on.
So this
May
is
2nd.
him responding. Oh, so this is opposing counsel. This is Monograph's attorney responding. It's just as good. It's totally
Helping
crap.
injured people. Helping them. Oh,
It's so
Monty.
good. No, this
Wheel him
this
in.
is
I
total
hope they wheel
bullshit.
him in a wheelchair with like an IV on it and a blanket over his lap.
So
You know,
good.
that man tried to touch me. It's like, all right.
Oh, the guy
The
is just pissed. Oh, and he's pissed, and you can tell. Just keep going.
all right. Dear Judge Fisher, this is coming from Monty's lawyer now, okay? I have received Mr. Mark Randazza's April 25th, 2023 ex parte correspondence following the April 10th, 2023 hearing. The letter is a complaint concerning how I characterized the last video presented to the court without objection from Mr. Randazza.
Because he couldn't. He
It-
couldn't object.
yeah,
He couldn't object.
he couldn't
He
object,
tried
yeah.
to, effectively.
It is a simple continuation of his argument at a hearing, and it is a complaint. I am unethical, and
Sure.
it is a complaint. I am unethical. Okay. As to describe the words used by Mr. Randazza as threats to rape me and my client, I use those terms so I didn't have to state in open court that Mr. Ricada is going to fuck my ass in court and other vulgar threats.
This is so good.
I just didn't want to say it, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I know. Well, you know. Okay. The video speaks for itself. Mr. Ricada's offensive commentary goes beyond what I stated to the court. Thus, I respectfully request to the court strike Mr. Randazza's April 25th, 2023 correspondence. To the extent this letter is an attempt to continue the argument at hearing, I recall Mr. Randazza requesting additional time to argue. I also recall the court specifically telling him, "No, you may not." Thus, I respectfully request the court strike Mr. Randazza's correspondence. So basically, he's trying to get the letter thrown out that he sent. To the extent I acted unethically, a complaint against Mr. Ricada is already before the Office of Lawyers Professional Responsibility, and the subject video has also been presented to Mr. Timothy Burke, the office director. Because Mr. Burke's investigation into the matter will surely include my words used to describe Mr. Ricada, I believe the proper forum to resolve ethical concerns lies with Mr. Burke. Thus, I respectfully request the court strike Mr. Randazza's correspondence from April 25th. Okay, so what do we got here?
The short version is that he's trying to go. He's trying to go. I just was trying to be respectful, but the fact is he's not fucking owning it. He's not owning the fact that he quite literally tried to represent to the court that somebody was inferring and was threatening to sexually assault he and his client. And right there, he's trying to say, well, it was, what do you say, allegorical. I mean, really, he's really trying to spin it there. And the thing is, this is insulting to me as a judge that you quite literally argued in my court that somebody was threatening to sexually assault you, and then you're coming to me and going, well, I didn't really just want to say that he was really saying this, which clearly is, you're gonna do my booty in court. You're clearly not going to physically assault somebody in a court of law. That's not how that goes. That is an allegory. That is a phrase, and he just kind of pulled his own pants down, in my opinion. And if I was the judge personally, I would dismiss it purely on the fact that there is a clear dishonesty, in my opinion, that is, and I'm not, look, most attorneys are dishonest. It's a matter of how you put a mask on it. And Schneider didn't put a mask on this. And that's the problem with his direction, is that he's a liar whose pants are on fire. He's gross, and he is disingenuous through and through. And that's where he gets it wrong. Randazza at least fakes it well enough. Now, I think Randazza also seeps in sincerity, but at least there is something to the spirit of the word that he speaks that also aligns with the letter of the law, that works for him. And he also is well seasoned in his area. Schneider is not. And it's very clear in my opinion. And again, I'm not an attorney. This isn't legal advice, none of the like. Just, don't pizza when you should French fry. But my point is, oh God, here we go. So I don't know why now it's trying to do that.
So what's the so what are we looking at as far as the relevance of this and what makes it into
Whatever.
It's all that porn. What did you look up on my machine?
I looked up Monty.
Oh God.
Oh, that'll do it.
I know, right?
She looked
Now
up
you've been
Monty
identified and located.
Here we go. I looked up Monty. I looked at Monty and the Melon.
on my machine.
I did, and then he
And
went,
it ain't been right since.
that's
It never will.
is there precedent for Moose asked, is there precedent for that to be fair? I'm not sure what you are Moose, what are you asking? Is there precedent for? That's okay. I probably am bitter and broken. Bread gummies rock. But you know what?
What is the significance of all this tonight? We
the
see this.
significance. It's kind of the reason I wanted to bring it to that it was just filed in the court and I hadn't seen anybody else discuss it, so I thought it would be worthy of mentioning. And two, what? He's talking out of the side. This is why I don't listen to him when we do. Yeah, stop it. And that it's basically it's their last attempted argument without actually being given the opportunity to orally argue or providing a brief, which is usually the other way that an individual argues before the court. So this is their last way. And the thing is that it is kind of childish. It's like each of them throwing crowns at each other or something at lunch. I don't know. But the difference is that Randazza, and that one sentence he stated is something about the truth. It was on the top of the second page that I found striking. I went, And the thing, there's just something, while you know that personally, I don't think the guy's sincere, but he argues his points well. And that right there just kind of drove it home for me. So
right, and so what I'm seeing here is that this is basically an ongoing issue that's kind of like peripheral to the actual case itself, and that basically these are just different attempts to kind of like undermine the one side or the other.
To sway the judge.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what is one of the 48 laws of power? Appeal to one's self-interest, not their virtue. So unfortunately, they're kind of both trying to plea at integrity, but I think there's more of an honesty with Randaz. It's like, yeah, my client said some shitty stuff, but still, like, he's being straight up about this. Or at least, he's horrible and I don't even like him. And actually, that is something that is a more drawing argument. I mean, at least for me, it would be. It's like, this guy doesn't even like his own client, but he's at least sticking up for something that he's doing, even if granted, that's what he's paid for. But still, there's something intriguing about the whole process. My point is, these two letters and kind of the dueling effort, I thought was interesting and that you should read. And I'm sure that there's
get something in the interim, right? So waiting for the big decision about whether this is going to get
next couple weeks, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, usually, and MSJ usually comes within about 30 days of the argument. And the thing is that they had the filing before that. The oral arguments were on the 10th. The judge had already read everything, so I think it's pretty much it'll be coming within the next couple of weeks. I really do think so.
Yeah. So, and hey, the second it breaks, I'm going to go live with it. So.
It'll be so good, and I'm so glad you will. You should. You're on point, and thank you for your recent streams. They've been very helpful to me. So I wanted to thank you for that personally.
Oh, great! Absolutely.
And I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it off campus too. So.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for dropping in, and after the stream, I'll catch up with you.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for having me, sir. You have a good evening.
You got it.
I'll keep watching.
Take care.
Bye, honey.
Thanks. Bye. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right. So there you go. There's some breaking news on the Arcata Quest defamation trial. Trying to get my screen back here. There we go. All right, so there we have it. And I will be taking coverage of the actual trial and what's going on with that trial, of course, as an interest point here on the channel. So thank you guys again for being here tonight. And again, the link to the playlist, if you want to see any of the older episodes where we kind of run through all the Yuri stuff, is out there. And what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of like looking around to see how we're going to go out this evening. This one's a good one. Hold on, can I do this one? Am I gonna get in trouble? Oh, that one will give me that. Actually, it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, there's some freedom in not having the whole like copyright thing hanging over your head. That I'm finding here, but of course we have to be able to fund the efforts, and it has to do with monetization as well. But Unveiling Reality for the evening, and thank you guys so much for being here. I will be back next Wednesday with more from the realm of Unveiling Reality, and we will continue to our mission and our journey to see through the deceptions in this world and how they are put upon us, so that we can recognize where the enablement comes from, and then we can take steps to generationally help heal this our society and make the world a better place, a more harmonious place that is filled with more good things than bad things, right? So we can enjoy this experience, and that we can get the most out of life itself, this beautiful thing called life that we are experiencing here together. And that's what we're really doing. That's what we're really doing here. And at the end of the day, it'll be something for our children and something for their children that we're putting together here. But as we do go along, think about these things, get involved, come to the channel, come to the Discord, interact with me. Like I said, I want to build a scene more than a channel here. And in a scene, we can have many things that we're touched upon, including like the use of technology and how the world's growing, including how to see through the deceptions that are out there, including things that are affecting us day in and day out, but not dwelling on anything particularly that'll keep us in one spot. But always looking at things that'll keep moving us forward in our intellectual growth as human beings, and this great experience that we call life, and this crazy little 3D universe that we exist in. All this is part of it, right? And this is what part of winning reality is. It's part of understanding how the game is rigged, unrigging the game by removing the enablement and using the light of truth to shine through in all aspects of what we do, and not living in fear, living in hope, living in goodness, living in the light. That's what it's all about, and that's what feels good, and that's what's going to make us have a better world to live in and experience the greatness that is 3D life in this universe. So thank you so much for being here tonight, everybody. Thank you, mods, for all the great things that you do. Thank you all for all the support and all the love and all the people that have been here throughout the journey, walking this road together. And until next time, I'll see you. And hey, keep winning.
I wish I could sing like dolphins, just like dolphins swim.